Thank you for joining us here on this Friday afternoon here on Live Impact News. Right across from me is super producer Jeb Goldman. I got to get used to saying that, Jeb, because usually it's Carlene in that seat. So, yeah.
I'm happy to be with you guys. Well, beautiful Friday out there right now, at least. I just walked outside. Really nice day. Completely different than what we saw at this time yesterday. So.
Oh, I was going to say something different. I was going to say it's hot.
Oh, okay. Nick Servant, it can be a little hot. Yeah, he's like the humidity.
I think I was sweating a little bit just walking to my car and then walking back to the building. Granted, I park all the way at the end of the parking
Nick Servant gets his steps.
I got to get my 10,000 steps. Or my daily goal.
Could not relate.
Don't laugh, Mike. Mike is one of our engineers who's here right now. Look, we have a lot going on. I'm looking at the feeds right now. There's a lot going on. We have. It's been a busy week. Has it felt like it's been a busy week, Jeb?
Very busy week, both locally and nationally.
Oh, man. Well, so we'll get to some of this live events and things happening. I'm looking at Karen Reed right now. I'm also looking at some other interviews that we have clipped that we will bring that to you, some press conferences that you may have missed before this afternoon stream. But are we ready for this one, Jeb?
I think so.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so what I'm referring to is, I guess let me set it up like this. It takes a lot of courage to live in your truth, to be vulnerable, to ask for help, especially when you may be the head of a household, you may run an organization, you may even be the president of a college or university. And in this instance, I'm talking about Dr. Anthony Davis. He is the president of Livingstone College. And during a recent the commencement ceremony last month, and here's Dr. Davis. He made an announcement, and he urged folks there, families, graduates, and the community members to help him find a kidney transplant donor as he struggles with the end stage of renal disease. And we have Dr. Davis here live on the show, Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Dr. Davis, and I mean this sincerely, how are you doing?
Man, I'm holding on with both hands. I'm going to stay fine as well as can be. You're right. I'm in end-stage renal failure, but I said this earlier today to a group. I may have renal disease, but renal disease does not have me. So every day I'm about the business of leading Livingstone College, not only the students that I serve, but the community that that supports it.
So you were appointed president in 2022, so not that long ago. And correct me if I'm wrong. You kept it a secret, and then you made that announcement during the commencement. Why did you choose to? Hey, I don't want to say anything. To the point where you made that announcement at commencement, because again, it takes a lot of courage to ask for help now.
So, excuse me, shortly after I was announced president, and a internal medicine appointment. My internal medicine doctor says, "Hey, I need to refer you to nephrology. Your numbers are giving me concern." So I was referred to nephrology, and then I become the president of Livingstone College, almost about the same time. A year later, I find myself in kidney failure, where I'm in the hospital for 4 days. And this has really been going on for the last 2 years. I just never said anything. I suffered in silence because, most people would say to me, if you never say anything, no one would know that you're sick. You're raising dollars, you're on the road recruiting students, you're all over the place. Most people with stage 5 renal disease, you feel it. I've been on dialysis now, peritoneal dialysis, where I treat myself at home, but it's a 7 day a week, 9 hour process. So for the last year, I've been on a dialysis machine 7 days a week, 9 hours in the evenings. And guess what? My family said, and my friends said, "Hey, man, you need to put it out there. We need to get you to a transplant." The problem is to get me to transplant is easier said than done. My blood type is O positive, so I can really only receive a kidney from one donor type, blood type, right? O positive. I think in some cases maybe O negative as well, but they have to find my match. And so my friends and coworkers said, "Let's launch the Be My Match campaign specifically for you. And we want you to make an announcement at commencement." I wasn't going to do it, but then after the spirit of the day, I said, "Hey, it's time." And I made the announcement at the end of commencement.
Dr. Davis, it sounded like you had a hard time, wanting to make that announcement. What was going through your head when you actually made that announcement? Because you said the spirits were high, which they usually are during a commencement ceremony. What was going through your mind as you were making that announcement?
Well, when I was making that announcement, you don't know how difficult it is to ask someone to give you a body part, an organ that will keep you alive. Right now, what keeps me alive is a dialysis machine that I have to connect to every night, 9 hours a night. That keeps me alive, removes the toxins from my blood, right? Does the job that my kidneys should do. Um, it's hard. It's humbling. It's definitely humbling to say to someone, "Hey, I need to find my match." And that's why we said, let's use our networks. My team said, let's use our network. AME Zion Church, you pastor AME Zion Church, you're a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. You have a great network from your hometown, people cheering you on. Let's just put it out there and see what happens. And can I tell you what I determined? I'm glad that I did because the response has been overwhelming.
You talk about the response being overwhelming. What has that response been like? What are some of the messages you've gotten from folks? And I'm guessing the phone calls and the texts as well.
Phone calls, text messages, reunions. This one makes me laugh. I played Little League Baseball. I've had at least two members of my Little League back in New Haven, Connecticut, who have actually began their testing to be a match for me. Think about that. Me playing Little League Baseball with young men, 10, 11 years old, and 40, almost 50 years later, here they are saying, "Hey, man, I'll give you a kidney, man, for me keeping you alive."
What I just want to ask you, and I may have, and you hit on it before, the day to day, running a college or university, having a family, and then on top of that, dealing with this disease. How do you manage all of that? Because it's not only a physical toll, but it's a mental toll as well.
Yeah, well, it's a day to day, but I keep a positive mindset. I have kidney disease. Kidney disease does not have me. So every day I'm about the business of raising the profile and raising money for Livingstone College, and that has not stopped. We're one of the fastest growing HBCUs in the region, and I'm positioning Livingstone College to be the premier private HBCU, not only in the state, but in the region. Think about this. While I have had kidney disease, we have had we enrolled the largest freshman class, the second largest freshman class in the history of the institution. We went from 200 freshmen to 400 freshmen. But then when you look at the quality of freshmen that we were able to onboard, the average GPA went from 2.5 to 3.26. We raised over $50 million in the 2.5 years that I've been president. So again, I have kidney disease. Kidney disease does not have me. Every day I'm about the business of Livingstone College. And that is one of the reasons why my friends, my inner circle said, let's get it out there. People will come to your rescue because you've done so much for so many. And I put it out there, and I am so glad that I did. I have had students actually um, take care of their first round of testing. I've had family members. I've had family members of some of my students who have gotten tested. I've had staff members offer themselves up to share an organ with me that I may continue to be in the good fight for Livingstone College.
Yeah, you're definitely in the good fight. Again, you mentioned it before. Be My Match. How can you let us know again? How can we help? How can we get the word out there to help you? Because again, you're helping so many people with the school, raising money, the students, as far as higher education. How can folks help you again?
Well, it's on our website. The Be My Match campaign is on our website, and my chief communications officer, May Lee Munoz, is leading that effort. You can just go ahead. We have a QR code on our website. Also, that QR code will connect you directly to Duke, which is my care community, and they'll get the process going for you to be my match.
Dr. Davis, I want to say you're in our prayers, you're in our thoughts. Like you said before, kidney disease doesn't have you. You have. Say it again for me. I don't want to mess it up.
See, now you're gonna put me on the spot. Now I gotta do it right. So I say I have kidney disease, but kidney disease does not have me. Although I'm in stage 5 renal failure, I connect to that dialysis machine. I keep it moving. I don't need sympathy. I need support. And I'm looking for someone who will be my match.
I'm glad you got it right for me. Doctor. Again, you are in our thoughts and our prayers. Anytime you want to come up here or be a part of Live Impact News, Dr. Davis, you're welcome here anytime. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for all that you do for our community.
We'll be in touch. Again, thank you for your time here. That's Dr. Anthony Davis here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. You can catch that full interview shortly on our website and on our YouTube page. And I just want to point out, there's some numbers that I want to point out just to put this into perspective. According to the National Institutes of Health, more than 800,000 people in the United States are living with ESRD. And that is with 68% of dialysis and 32% with a kidney transplant. Males are 1.6 times more likely to develop end-stage renal disease than females, and black people are more than 4 times more likely to develop ESRD. So again, get checked, go to the doctor, and some good information that Dr. Anthony Davis shared with us. And if you're interested in his campaign, you can find his information on the Be My Match campaign website. All right, so we want to turn now. Jeb, we want to go next.
I'll go to Canada.
Okay.
Very basic
All right. Give me 1 second, folks. We want to turn now to Canada. And you send me this information, Deb?
Teams.
Can you fill us in a little bit on what's going on here?
Yeah, so we're going to take you out to Canada right now, where the Prime Minister is updating the people of Canada about a new economic bill, not similar to the Big Beautiful Bill, but they are also working on a massive economic overhaul, and he's giving an update on where that stands right now. It was just tabled moments ago.
Now, build one Canadian economy, build a better Canada for all and for all time. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
We'll now proceed to questions. Nous commencerons avec une question, une relance. We'll begin with one question, one follow-up. Première question, first questions, Radio-Canada.
Oui, bonjour, M. Carney, Laurence Martin de Radio-Canada. Disons qu'il y a un projet de pipeline que vous estimez dans l'intérêt national, mais qu'il y a une province sur le chemin, le Québec, la Colombie-Britannique, qui n'en veut pas. Est-ce que vous allez l'imposer quand même?
Simplement, non. Il faut avoir un consensus.
De toutes les provinces?
De toutes les provinces, et les peuples, avec les peuples autochtones. Alors, il y a plusieurs projets à l'intérêt national et il y aura un processus afin d'établir un consensus pour quelques-uns. Parce que le projet, il faut possible de mettre en œuvre le processus, de bâtir le projet. Et si une province ne veut pas, c'est impossible. Ce n'est pas le choix du gouvernement fédéral. I'll simplify. We will not impose a project on a province. We need consensus behind these projects, and we need the participation of Indigenous peoples. I'm going to add something. I'll translate it in French.
Yes.
Which is what's encouraging from the First Minister's meeting in Saskatchewan is that many provinces came together in support of projects that would stretch across provincial boundaries. So, for example, the Western and Arctic Corridor would be an example, or the Energy East Partnership. That's Energy East Partnership, not pipeline, to be clear. And that's an example where that consensus is forming, understanding that we need to work together in order for this to happen. Much more, of course, needs to be done. Alors, il y a des exemples, déjà, des partenariats entre quelques provinces, par exemple, avec le corridor de l'Ouest et du Nord, et de l'énergie de l'Est, pas Energy East, Energy Est, mais l'énergie de l'Est. Mais nous sommes au début de ce processus, Madame.
Disons qu'il y a un projet de pipeline qui part de l'Alberta et qui va vers le nord du Canada. Qui ferait l'évaluation environnementale? Et si c'est l'Alberta, est-ce qu'on peut se fier à leur processus d'évaluation environnementale?
Oui, l'Alberta peut faire l'évaluation sur le terrain d'Alberta. Mais sur le terrain, par exemple, du territoire de Nord-Ouest, c'est la responsabilité, en effet, du gouvernement fédéral.
Mais il n'y aurait pas d'évaluation fédérale?
Oui, non, il y aura. Évidemment, il faut faire l'évaluation en complet. Alors, on a un choix, on crée la possibilité de coopération et d'avoir une évaluation. Mais ce n'est pas possible, par exemple, si je peux, un autre exemple. S'il y a un corridor à travers le pays, on ne peut pas avoir simplement l'évaluation à l'échelle provinciale. Ça vaut mieux d'avoir l'évaluation à l'échelle fédérale. On peut avoir le choix. C'est un accord de coopération. C'est pas un accord de.
Il va y avoir les deux?
Non, il faut choisir. On fait ça avec la coopération. On peut choisir l'échelle provinciale ou l'échelle fédérale. OK? Merci.
Next question. Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Jillian Piper with Global News. Have you had any conversations with President Trump?
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. This is a live look there in Canada as they update us on their new economic bill. We want to come back home here to North Carolina. We want to actually go northeast North Carolina. This is in Elizabeth City. So earlier today, before we hopped on the stream, Governor Josh Stein spoke at a press conference in Elizabeth City, proclaiming this week as North Carolina SAFE Week of Action. Now, SAFE stands for Secure All Firearms Effectively. This is a big push here in the state. And it was sponsored by the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. And this week of action seeks to unite communities and families and organizations statewide to promote life-saving importance of safe firearm storage. Again, this is a big push by officials here in North Carolina to make sure that your firearms are stored safely to prevent any sort of tragic accident from happening or incident from happening. Let's take you now, in case you missed it, let's take you now to that press conference.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right, it's good to be here this morning. Good to see you all here to celebrate this safe week, and thank you for coming. So good morning. It is a pleasure to welcome you to Elizabeth City for the 3rd annual North Carolina Safe Week of Action to promote safe gun storage. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the tragedy that struck our Elizabeth City State University family. Everyone should be able to celebrate and gather with friends without a threat of violence. I want to extend my condolences to the family of Isaiah Cardwell, who tragically lost his life in the shooting. The full weight of the Elizabeth City Police Department is behind bringing the shooter to justice. Gun violence is an epidemic in our community, and too many of our children and teens become victims of it. Safe storing firearms goes a long way towards preventing accidental gun deaths among children and helps to combat gun theft. In 2024, 27 guns were stolen from vehicles and homes in Elizabeth City. This is something that is absolutely preventable. I'm calling on each and every person to ensure their firearms are stored safely and securely. I want to thank the governor, the Department of Public Safety, and every single person who works to promote North Carolina Safe Initiative. Now I have the honor to introduce our next speaker, the governor, Josh Stein. Governor Stein is honored to serve North Carolina as the 76th governor. His faith teaches him that we are all called to make a difference, and his parents raised his brother, sister, and him to try to do the right thing and ground them and share values of freedom and opportunities. Governor Stein is committed to creating economic opportunities for every North Carolinian, investing in public schools, developing our workforce, and keeping people safe. Since day one in office, he has been laser focused on helping Western North Carolina rebuild in the Hurricane Helen initiative. Josh and his wife, Anna, are members of Temple Beth in Raleigh. They are proud parents of Sam, Adam, and Leah, who all attended North Carolina public schools, just like they did. Please join me in welcoming Governor Stein.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Chief Graham, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for your leadership of the Elizabeth City Police Department. First week on the job.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
It's going good.
I love it. Well, what I want to do is we have a box full of gun locks. We want you to be able to have that so that you and your police officers can help distribute them in the community to keep folks safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for being here. I'm very pleased to be joined by Deputy Secretary Billy Lassiter, Mr. Fawn Dockery, Dr. Eric Schlag. Pleased to see Elizabeth City Pasquotank Superintendent Keith Parker. I saw him a moment ago. Where did he get to? There he is, hiding over there. We have Elizabeth City Chancellor-Select Dr. Keith Hargrove. Nope, unfortunately. College of the Albemarle President Jack Bagwell. Thank you for being here. Students were talking to me earlier, and they were telling me how instrumental that you are in their education. So we want to thank the College of the Albemarle. And very pleased that Senator Bobby Hanig is here with us as well. As the chief mentioned, we're still mourning the loss of Isaiah Caldwell and that tragic shooting that happened at Elizabeth City State. And I want to thank Elizabeth City Police for their continued efforts to identify the perpetrator. Too many North Carolina families, like Isaiah's, are touched by gun violence. And all of us have a role to play in making our communities safer. That's why NC Safe Week of Action is so important. Today, firearms are the leading cause of death of our children, ages 1 to 17. It's not car accidents, it's gun violence. And from 2019 to 2021, the rate of firearm deaths among children more than doubled. These deaths are even more tragic because many of them are preventable. A quarter of North Carolina's gun owners report that they keep a gun loaded and unlocked in their home. Let me say that again, loaded and unlocked. That means anyone who can get their hands on that gun could use it. I understand that many families want to have a firearm accessible for their own safety in case of emergency. I get it. But we also know that that decision comes with real risks to your loved ones. A toddler could accidentally discharge it. A visitor to the house could grab it and use it. A young adult suffering a mental health crisis could use it to harm himself or others. I was telling Senator Hanig on the way over here about a man who's become a friend in Charlotte whose son was having a mental health crisis, hit that lowest of moments, tried to break in to the family gun safe to use it against himself, and he could not get in. They were able to intervene, take him to crisis care. He's now enrolled in college, happy, healthy young man. He would not be here today if his father had not locked his guns in a safe at home. We know that 80% of youth firearm suicides involve a weapon that belonged to a family member. 80% of juvenile school shooters get their weapon from a family member or a friend's home. These two horrifying statistics are tragic and completely avoidable. We have to use every tool at our disposal to keep our children safe. Many folks own their gun to keep their families safe. Storing the gun safely is another way that we can keep our families safe. First, keep the gun unloaded when it's not being used to reduce the risk of tragedy. Next, use gun safes or gun locks, like the ones I just gifted to the police chief, to keep your firearms out of the wrong hands, especially your children's. Third, storing firearms and ammunition separately from each other creates an additional layer of security. Fourth, apply these rules both at home and in your car. Chief Graham, I understand Elizabeth City has been having trouble with people breaking into cars and stealing guns, and you are not alone. And Sheriff, I want to thank you for being here as well, Sheriff Wooten. 431 reported gun theft from vehicles in 2023 alone. That was a 40% increase from 2020. Folks, if you carry a gun in your car, lock it up. Once we've taken these steps in our own homes and our own cars, we cannot stop there. We have to talk to our family, friends, and neighbors about the importance of safe storage. The more that people secure their firearms at home or in their car, the safer that we in the community all become. Everyone here understands this. You're here because you believe in it, and I want to thank you for what you're doing to help spread this important word about safe storage. I also want to thank the people at the Department of Public Safety for their hard work in promoting safe storage practices, including all of the events this week for NC Safe Week of Action. Their press conference, there's community days happening all across North Carolina. Secretary of Department of Public Safety Eddie Buffalo, Elizabeth City fella. Unfortunately, he had a conflict. He was kind of mad at me that we chose today to be here because obviously he wanted to be here with his friends and neighbors from Elizabeth City. But we are pleased to be joined by Deputy Secretary Billy Lassiter. And at this time, Billy, I'd like you to come forward.
Thank you so much, Governor, and thank you for your leadership on this issue and on all the issues that we work on public safety across the state of North Carolina. I've known Governor Stein for many years, and he's done a lot of work on school safety. We're in a school today, worked on a lot of legislation back in the day on passing some of the first school safety legislation in the state of North Carolina. Senator Haig, I appreciate so much. You were one of the co-sponsors of the bill that actually started NC Safe in the state of North Carolina. And when it got held up for a little while, he was the one that helped make sure it got pushed to the floor. So I appreciate your leadership also in making sure that this bill passed and that we are able to do this campaign across the state of North Carolina. Thank you to our law enforcement partners that are here today, the sheriff and police chief. I also want to thank my staff. A lot of staff from the Department of Public Safety and the Division of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention are here today. This is an additional task to what they do each and every day, trying to keep kids safe across the state of North Carolina. But they've been going out and doing public events all across the state of North Carolina, giving out these gun locks that the governor just gave to the police chief. These gun locks, we've now given out over 120,000 of them across the state of North Carolina, which is awesome. These are really easy to use, but as the governor said, this is the first step. We want to make sure beyond just using the gun lock, we want to make sure that people actually use a gun safe. That is the best and most practical way to make sure that that gun does not get into the wrong hands in our communities. I want to thank our staff for going out and having these community events across the state of North Carolina, from everything from the Liver Mush Festival down west to coming to law enforcement night outs that we've done across the state of North Carolina. Over 120 events over the last 3 years where we've been distributing gun locks to people across the state of North Carolina. As the governor said, this is the week of action. This is the week that we really want to emphasize that people take the right steps to make sure that their firearms are safely stored. It couldn't be a better timing. School is getting ready to get out here in Elizabeth City. They're graduating tonight, so congratulations to our graduates that are in the back there. But if you live in this community and you're a grandparent and you're going to keep the kids over the summer, and maybe you don't lock up your firearms because you don't have a kid normally in your house, today is the day to take action. Make sure that that firearm is locked up in your house before a grandkid comes over or the neighbor's kids come over and find that gun accidentally. We've had 5 kids under the age of 5 in the state of North Carolina this year alone get shot by a firearm that was unsecured in the home. That is completely preventable, folks. Completely preventable by taking the right steps and safely storing your firearm in your house. We got involved in this in juvenile justice because we've seen the statistics. 4 years ago, 4% of juvenile crime in the state of North Carolina involved a firearm. Last year, that was 14% of all juvenile crime involved a firearm. When a kid picks up a firearm and commits an incident in their community, a crime in their community, takes a gun to a school and terrorizes that school community, it affects the whole community. Last year we had 87 guns that were taken off of kids in the state of North Carolina on school campuses. 75% of those guns came from the kid's own home. Another 12% came from a grandparent's home. And so these are coming from our homes. As a parent, you have a responsibility. If you're a gun owner, yes, you have the right to possess that firearm, but you have the ultimate responsibility to make sure that that gun does not get into the hands of a young person and they bring that gun to school or terrorize their community with that gun. Yes, you can teach your gun safety to young people. I'm a scout leader. I teach gun safety to young people all the time. But we always do it in a supervised way, and we make sure that we spend the first 3 hours of that course making sure to go over safety so that those young people understand it. You cannot just simply say to a young person, don't ever touch it. Because that's the same thing you said about their Christmas gift and they found it, right? The same thing is true here. You can't just say don't touch it, because they are curious and they will find it, and they will, unfortunately, a lot of times use that to harm themselves or others in their house, in your household. So I'll emphasize what the governor said. Don't let the thing that you bought to protect your family be the thing that ends up harming your family. Lock it up every time. Keep it safe. It only takes a few seconds to do the right thing. So please take this message. Help be our disciples. Go out there in the community and tell folks about how important it is. And if you need some gun locks, we got some for you. And we make it really easy. There's a QR code on here that shows a state highway trooper using the gun lock and how to use the gun lock appropriately. We've got it in English and Spanish. So there are no excuses. As I tell people all the time now, there's no excuses. We're giving you the resource to make sure that you do the right thing in your community. Next, I want to call up Fawn Dockery, who's become a good friend of mine over the last few years. Fawn lost his young daughter to an incident of gun violence where a gun was not safely stored in the home. And he wants to share his story with you real quick this morning. Thank you, Fawn, for being here.
Greetings, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and all the highly esteemed people here in the room today with us and virtually. I am Fawn Dockery, the husband of the wonderful Kimberly Dockery, the father of Genesis Dockery, and the father of Amara Dockery. Two of those names of my family I presented are here physically with us today. One of those names, the late, our wonderful, eternal love, Genesis Dockery, can only be present in our hearts and our spirit. On July 25th, 2023, around the hour of 3 p.m., I received a frantic call from the babysitter where my 5-year-old daughter, Amara, and my 8-year-old daughter, Genesis, was being babysat at. Along with many other children. There was an unsecured firearm in the home. And tragically, my daughter Genesis had been shot. 2 days later at UNC Chapel Hill Health, Genesis would succumb to her injuries. I'm gonna be very direct and very clear. This case was very preventable. Takes about 12 minutes to have the safe gun storage conversation, to secure a trigger lock, a gun lock, and to secure that firearm in a safe. 12 minutes would have changed my family's life, would have changed their family's life, and would not have negatively impacted our community. All because of negligence and an unsecured firearm. Deputy Secretary Lassiter and Governor Stein gave you the numbers. I'm giving you a face. I'm giving you a name. I'm giving you an incident. We, the Live Like Genesis Project, the family of Genesis, we come out and we advocate for safe gun storage and gun violence awareness. We too also give away gun locks. We ask and we challenge each and every one under the sound of my voice, whether you're virtual or in this building, to visit ncsafe.org. There's PDFs to show you and walk you through having that conversation with all the occupants in your home. There's PDFs to show you if you want to host and be able to give away gun locks in your area, right there on that website. The problem we have with safe gun storage in North Carolina, we can fix. It's not biochemical, neuroscience, or rocket science. This is common sense. Secure your firearms effectively. At this time, I'll be presenting Dr. Toshlaw.
Good morning. My name is Eric Toschlag, and I am by profession a trauma surgeon. I have the honor to serve as Trauma Medical Director for East Carolina University Health Medical Center, the Level 1 adult and pediatric trauma center serving Eastern North Carolina, which is the largest trauma system in the state of North Carolina. I'm truly honored to have been asked to speak today to provide a clinical bedside perspective on this issue, this topic, gunshot injury and death. And by virtue of my 25-year career at ECU, this healthcare epidemic is a topic quite close to my heart. Trauma centers categorize injured patients in a standard binary fashion depending on the mechanism by which the victims are injured. And specifically, we classify injury as blunt injury, car crash, fall from a deer stand, ATV crash, or penetrating trauma. And penetrating trauma is largely comprised of gunshot wounds. Most rural trauma centers, such as ECU Health, experience penetrating mechanisms of about 2%. So about 2 out of 100 patients that we admit to the trauma center are penetrating injury. The penetrating rate at ECU is 20%. It's a four to five-fold higher than our demographic would predict. And what does that mean? Well, it means that our trauma center is vastly more similar to the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, or George Washington in Washington, D.C., or trauma centers in the city of Chicago. Of the 4,000 trauma patients we are now evaluating each year at ECU, greater than 500 of those patients have been shot. And so many of these victims are children. Children who suffer unintentional gunshot wounds from inappropriately stored guns in the home. I'm going to recount to you our experience at ECU, and this is not in the last 10 years, this is in the last few weeks. And I'm going to try to keep this very confidential. 14-year-old male, gunshot wound to the brain, inflicted by his brother with an unsafely stored weapon. 5-year-old male, gunshot wound to the brain by his brother, unsecured weapon. 13-year-old female, gunshot wound to the arm at a family party, unsecured weapon. 18-month-old male, gunshot wound to the heart by a family member cleaning gun. He died in the operating room at ECU. In January 2025, we had 5 adolescent gunshots within a single week. 2-year-old male, gunshot wound to the abdomen with family handgun, unsecured. 4-year-old male found handgun in the couch console, shot himself in the leg, fractured femur. Unfortunately, I could consume the remainder of our time with more cases, but this is the reality that we are experiencing at the trauma center literally every day. In 25 years, I've cared for hundreds of pediatric gunshot victims. Many have died, many are permanently disabled. Gunshot, as the governor referred to, is now the leading cause of death in the United States for adolescents and young people. Let's ponder that as a society. Our children are dying most frequently of gunshot in this country. I reviewed a recent study as I speak on gun violence around the country. I reviewed a recent study that analyzed gunshot in the pediatric population worldwide. This study looked at 30 developed countries similar to the United States: Canada, Europe, the United Kingdom, Japan, Ireland, and looked at pediatric gunshot death over a time period. Between the ages of 5 and 16, 95% of gun death in the pediatric population occurs in one country, the United States. So gunshot death, as you have heard, is an epidemic. Nearly 47,000 Americans died of gun-related injuries in 2023. While this statistic is staggering, it is important to note the impact that mental health has on this epidemic. In any given year, 2/3 of those 40+ thousand Americans who die of gunshot wounds are dying by suicide. And children are being disproportionately impacted with the suicide epidemic. Between 2011 and 2020, the U.S. experienced a 150% increase in adolescent suicide. So let's consider the value of this invaluable safe storage program. Consider the impact this can have on the suicide proportion alone. With help, most people who attempt suicide and survive do not attempt again and recover. Thus, survivability is really about the lethality of the first attempt. And our other speakers have alluded to this. Tragically, if the suicide attempt is with a firearm, it is 80 to 90% successful. So safe storage would have an immediate and significant impact on this epidemic. So I would like to close by acknowledging the true privilege of being asked to speak today in support of Governor Stein and this initiative, which, as I have stated, is incredibly important. And to our law enforcement personnel here today and all those integral to this invaluable initiative, I would close with a comment and a question. I believe we love our children. That is not a partisan observation. The other observation I have is that we have the power to stop this, as you said. We have the power to end this now. The question I must pose to you and we must pose to ourselves is, do we have the will to do so? Thank you.
And yeah, that was a press conference there in Pasquotate County, Elizabeth City, talking about NC Safe, again, a program, an initiative by state officials in North Carolina aimed at making communities safer when it comes to gun storage and firearm storage. All right, so that's that. Let's get to the weather, because yesterday it was, ugh. I don't even know how you spell ugh. It was pretty gross yesterday. It was raining. It was humid. Before we get to weather, quick story. So I went on a run this morning. So Jeb and I are like kind of competing in a way, encouraging.
It's a competition. I be texting Nick every day when I'm on a good run. I'm like, all right. And then you post, if you follow Nick Sturdivant on social media, you know this guy runs. This guy gets real mileage.
I did 8 miles this morning.
On a Friday before work?
Well, I usually do my long miles on Saturday, but I wanted to get it out the way.
I respect that. Today was not the day. It was gross out.
I was struggling this morning, man. It was so humid outside.
That's crazy.
At 5, I started at 5 a.m. It was so humid at 5 a.m.
That's not. I mean, when I left for work today, it was not long after that. Like it was. Man. I was like, it's summer.
It is.
We are here.
Time of the year where I need to have a water bottle or some sort of vest.
Yep, you gotta hydrate.
Yeah, because I'm like,
that's so important.
I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make these, because my goal was 9, but I did 8.
8's amazing.
Yeah, I'm hard on myself. We're hard on ourselves.
I was gonna say, like, I've been resting. It's been killing me.
Oh yeah, you're taking it. Look, it's good to take a break from running.
I'm letting Nick Sturdivant really build that confidence up.
You're faster than me when it comes to the mile.
Barely.
No, you're faster than me. It was. But I'm saying all this to say, if it's 5 a.m. and it's hot right now, I'm sure there's some guys, some women. We got a rough weekend
coming.
It's going to be hot.
And we got a lot of events. You have the Premier Lacrosse League here in town, Savannah Bananas, Taste of Charlotte. I mean, people got to make sure they're drinking lots of water.
Lots of water. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you play it smart. If you're going to get those long miles in, do them early in the morning. That's what I would suggest.
That's my plan.
You going to do it early in the morning?
I'm hoping to get back tomorrow.
You going to run tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
We'll talk about this.
Yeah.
Separately. But again, we were just saying this, be safe. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you have sunscreen on. Make sure you do all the things to protect yourself this weekend. And also, we're weather alert tomorrow, because we have some storms potentially rolling in. I always say this, I'm not a meteorologist, so let me toss it to the actual meteorologist. Majestic Storm is here with your forecast.
Well, good Friday afternoon to you. I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm, and boy, it's going to be a very hot and humid weekend, and it all starts today. Afternoon highs will rise into the upper 80s. Once you add in that humidity, though, it's going to feel like we are well into the 90s. Small storm chances, though, as we're heading into the afternoon. Saturday could be the first time that we hit 90 degrees this year. Also watching for those storm chances. Much of the same for Sunday, but temperatures will then dip back down into the mid-80s. Let's break down our severe weather threat. Now, for today, if any storms do develop, they'll be very isolated in nature. Now, tomorrow for Saturday, it's a WCNC weather alert day because the risk for severe storms is going to rise. We'll all be under that medium level risk. And then on Sunday, still widespread possibility of seeing some of those isolated strong to severe thunderstorms. But really on Sunday, the risk seems like it's going to be greatest east of our area. For your Friday afternoon, though, if you have any plans, it is going to be sunny to get us started. Still a nice mix of sun and clouds through the majority of the day. And look at those afternoon highs. I'm telling you, it is going to be hot. Make sure you're staying hydrated, especially if you work outside in the elements. Find a nice way to stay cool. And I always like to remind you, if you have any outdoor pets, make sure you don't forget about them either. If it's hot for us, it's also hot for them. This is for your Friday, our heat index value, what it's actually going to feel like. Look at this, around dinner time tonight, 6 o'clock, it's going to feel like it's 95 degrees today in Charlotte. And it doesn't stop there. Our futurecast, as we head into our Saturday, it starts out very warm and muggy. If you have any plans for your Saturday morning, maybe you're heading out for that morning time walk or the farmer's market, get it done early, because by 5 o'clock on our Saturday, there we go again with those feel-like values, mainly into the 90s. Cooler, though, of course, if you're over towards the mountains. And we're also looking at very hot and humid conditions through Sunday with 90s for heat indices for many of us. All right, let's break down that severe weather threat today. Isolated chances, low-end threat, really the odds of a severe storm developing for us today. It's very low, but it's not zero. No tornado risk today, no hail risk. If one of those storms does develop, it could bring some strong gusty winds up to around 60 miles an hour. Notice, though, here's our futurecast, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, perhaps an isolated storm or two. I mean, not out of the question, but very, very low. Generally, it's just going to be hot and muggy, and we'll have that sunshine. As we're heading into our Saturday, though, overnight, we could get some of these passing showers. Now, Saturday is a whole different story. That's our WCNC weather alert day. We're all under that medium level risk for severe storms. And as we're looking at those threats for Saturday, you need to stay weather aware. I know many of you want to head out to the lake. It's your Saturday. It's going to feel hot and muggy. We're going to be watching for wind threat and hail concerns. And then on Sunday, you can see that risk will kind of shift off to the east of us, the greater risk, but we'll also be watching for some storms on Sunday. Hour by hour, you can see this is Saturday morning, starts out pretty quiet. We don't have any major concerns, and models are having a hard time picking up those storms on Saturday. But again, we'll be monitoring radar very carefully for you. We don't have any risk for tornadoes, but strong damaging winds and hail not out of the question. Then as we head towards Saturday night, quiet, 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 and then Sunday starts out quiet again. But notice as we head towards Sunday afternoon and into the evening time hours, that's when we could see some more storms form. 7-day forecast, here we go. We're heading into the weekend, really all about the heat and humidity, and there is still some uncertainty when it comes to those storms, so make sure you do just stay close to the WCNC weather team. We'll keep you up to date all throughout the weekend. Have a good one.
Again, as Majestic just mentioned, we are weather alert on Saturday. It's going to be 90 degrees as a high for tomorrow. So again, stay hydrated. Make sure you wear that sunscreen, and make sure you get to those shady areas, but also make sure that you have the WCNC Charlotte app. Everybody's not necessarily glued to the TV on Saturday because you're out and about. But make sure you are locked in when it comes to where these storms are, because we are weather alert for potential of some severe weather. All right, so this month, June, is Gun Violence Awareness Month, and tomorrow it's a very important event happening in Charlotte. The Raise Your Voice, Not Your Guns Community Day event is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. The location of this is at the SOCM, and that's on 2201 Coronia Street here in Charlotte. Again, June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. Gun violence affects a lot of people, not only in this community, but also nationwide. And so we got a chance to hear from the event partner, Tiffany Brown. Our Bria Smith got a chance to talk with her ahead of that event that's happening tomorrow. Let's take a listen in to that interview.
And I'm the visionary of the Earn Your Wings Book and Speakers Tour, and also the founder of BVP Project Safe Haven.
Absolutely. So talk to us about, and I do want to get into both of those titles because I did read on that, and I thought that was pretty interesting. But really, as far as Saturday, we can go back really since I've been here in Augusta, and Charlotte, which has been maybe a little over a month.
Okay.
There have been a couple of shootings that I had heard about. But really being at work has been the past 3 weeks, and since then there have been so many.
Yes.
This past week alone, from last Friday, Saturday and Sunday, there was at least one shooting each day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but also fortunately, this event on Saturday is so on time. Talk about the importance of that.
Yeah, well, it's really important for us to come together as a community. So this is a joint effort between the Earn Your Wings tour with SOCM, with the Save Our Children movement, with Rodney McGill, and Sylvia Stitt with Solidarity in Orange, Tina Sykes-Mosley with Mothers, Marcus Mothers. So we have partnered with several different organizations for this event. The women that I just mentioned are all survivors. Their sons were murdered here in the Charlotte area. And so it's just become a pandemic, similar to COVID. It's like killing our neighbors, it's killing our children. And so with Gun Violence Awareness Month being all of June, it's just really important for us to continue raising awareness and coming together in a safe community environment to just uplift and just help survivors, but also to let our community know, like, this has to stop. There's other ways to resolve conflict than shooting one another, and the victims are getting younger and younger, and those that are killing are getting younger and younger.
And that was just another point. The suspects also.
Exactly.
Right? And it's almost like when I was back in Augusta, I worked weekends for 2 years straight, and both Saturday and Sunday, almost every weekend between June and July, there was a shooting, and it was devastating. And it was almost like, because school's out, kids have maybe nothing to do, or the environment that they're in, they're just like, okay, well, let's just do this. What is kind of like a message that you'd hope, not only this event, but just overall, you know, would reach that demographic of people who are either committing or unfortunately are victims?
Right. Well, the event is going to be here at 2201 Corona. This is the perfect environment. We're in a community. There's going to be lots of children there on Saturday. So I think it's going to be a perfect time for us to reach the younger population, because I work in social work and I work in the human services field. And the juvenile crimes have gone up just, I don't know numbers, but I know that it has increased. And just like you're saying, every week, this past week, there's been a shooting every single day. And like I said, it's our youth. It's the 14 up to 19-year range that they're resorting to that. So we have to get back in the homes, and we can only do that in the community. We have to go back to the homes and help the parents with talking to their children about gun violence and safety, making sure that the parents are being safe, because these children are getting guns from unlocked cabinets, from parents just leaving them somewhere accessible, but then getting them out on the streets. And the fact that we are an open carry state, and the laws are going to be allowing 18-year-olds to be able to get guns, it's ridiculous, and it's only just going to increase.
Absolutely. And kind of thinking about it now, the location that you all chose to have the event, right? It could have been anywhere. Charlotte's big, as I'm learning.
It is.
But you mentioned something that we're right here in a community, in a neighborhood. Talk about that importance, or that significance, because I think that would encourage, those that are surrounding to even come out even more.
Yeah. So SOCM, or Save Our Children movement, has been based here. They have made an outstanding impact in this community. We have come and supported them on various occasions for various reasons, but it's always about the community. So we know that this would be a perfect location because of where we're at. It's easily accessible. People can get here by bus. They can get here easily by Lyft or Uber. The community come. You can park anywhere. There's no parking restrictions. And again, we're in a community where there are some high needs, and there is support that is needed, especially for the youth in the community. So this is just one of several high needs communities in the Charlotte area that really could use our support.
Absolutely. Talk about the demographics of the event, the date, time, location, what all will be there, and what people will need to do in order to come out that day. I believe there's tickets that need to be purchased, correct?
Yes. So it is a free event, or by donation only. So up until yesterday, it was a free event all the way through. Up until yesterday, we did put on there, we were asking for donations to continue helping us with our work, because we are doing this work across 7 different states. And so Charlotte is the base for the Earn Your Wings tour. And so The event is going to be June 7th. It is 1 to 5 p.m. It is right here at 2201 Coronia Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina. I would say that the demographics is just going to be family friendly. So from infant up to your grandparents, everyone is welcome to come. It's a public event. It's donation only. And again, it's just to help us continue these efforts. We're also working with the Solidarity in Orange to try to get uptown to light the city orange during June for Gun Violence Awareness Month, because we want the city to also be a part of the change that we need in the community. So we're asking everybody to wear orange in support, and we just want to just have a great day, a great day.
Tomorrow is actually Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Yes.
And I did a story yesterday relating to gun violence and mental health. And so one of the speakers there, she's a mental health advocate, and she'd said that there's a Wear Orange, like national kind of movement thing. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, really, that's all the questions I have. There's nothing else about this that you really want to mention about the event, but also really just like throughout, right? Like the event is going to happen one day.
Right.
National Gun Violence Awareness Month is 1 month.
Right.
But it's an epidemic year round.
Exactly.
So kind of overall, what do you might have to say to that?
You're right. June is Gun Violence Awareness Month, but we know that this is something that is affecting us every single day, not just in Charlotte. It's even in rural communities. So this is not something that is only happening in Black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods. This is happening everywhere. And so, yeah, we need to continue, not just in the month of June, but we need to continue this work every single day. We need to partner with other organizations, other survivors, other community leaders, elected officials, churches. Churches are paramount to this type of work. So we need everyone to come together. One person or one entity or one organization cannot bring about the change that we need to make before we lose more lives, more of our children. And these are things that are avoidable. Conflict resolution, crime intervention, crime prevention, again, going back into the homes, talking to the parents, seeing what support they need, talking to the children, finding out why this is their first defense for resolving conflict, and what do our kids need to learn so that they have healthier ways to resolve things. So this is an everyday work, but we have to come together.
And again, I want to make sure we get this in. The Raise Your Voice, Not Your Guns event is happening tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 2201 Coronia Street here in Charlotte. Again, is to uplift the community and bring awareness to gun violence, with this month being Gun Violence Awareness Month. All right, let's shift now to D.C., where House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat from New York, he's not weighing in on the public feud between President Trump and tech billionaire Elon Musk. They have a feud right now. They broke apart. But Jeffries, at his press conference today, he did focus on the Democrats' efforts to kill the president's big, beautiful bill. And he did not weigh in on the feud between President Trump and tech billionaire Elon Musk. He did say, quote, the opportunity when it comes to this bill, the opportunity that exists right now is to kill the GOP tax scam. And that's according to Jeffries. Let's take you now to that press conference in case you missed it.
Good morning, everyone. House Democrats continue to fight to stop the GOP tax scam in its tracks. Trump's one big, ugly bill will rip away health care for more than 16 million Americans. Others across the country will pay higher premiums, co-pays, and deductibles because of this unprecedented attack on Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act. Hospitals will close, nursing homes will shut down, and people will die if the GOP tax scam ever becomes law. Republicans are also trying to jam the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history down the throats of the American people by taking away more than $300 billion from SNAP. These extremists are literally ripping food from the mouths of children, seniors, and veterans in the United States of America. It's shameful. All of this is being done so that Republicans can provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors, and then they want to stick the American people with the bill, including by exploding the deficit by more than $3 trillion, saddling our children and grandchildren with this type of fiscal baggage that will hurt their ability to have a prosperous future and sets America on a possible path toward bankruptcy. The GOP tax scam is indeed a disgusting abomination. Questions?
Good morning. You've spoken about what you term as overly aggressive tactics by ICE agents here. Are you concerned, though, that possibly demasking some of these agents puts their safety or their family's safety in jeopardy? And why not?
Seems to me that the officials at the Department of Homeland Security, including ICE, should be held to the same standards as every other part of law enforcement in terms of transparency.
Amid this feud between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, should Musk be called before a House committee and testify?
I haven't had conversations with members of the relevant committees, which presumably, could include budget or ways and means or judiciary or oversight. And until I have those conversations, I don't think there's much more to add. Right now, we're focused on killing the bill. The GOP tax scam hurts everyday Americans and rewards billionaires. That's not what we should be doing at this moment in time in the United States of America. We should be building an affordable economy that lowers costs for hardworking American taxpayers. The GOP tax scam, this one big, ugly bill, does the exact opposite. It will raise costs and increase the financial burden on hardworking American taxpayers. That's what we're focused on as House Democrats and in support of the efforts of Senate Democrats to stop the one big, ugly bill from ever becoming law. Thanks.
Are you concerned that cutting PEPFAR funding, that's something that the White House has proposed in the rescissions package, is going to set the United States back as a leader on the global effort to eradicate HIV/AIDS? What's your take, what's your message during Pride Month to folks out there who are concerned that the United States has been a leader with PEPFAR on HIV, but that's at risk now with the Republicans putting forward this rescissions package?
The effort to eradicate HIV and AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa and across the country, as led by the United States of America through PEPFAR, has been a phenomenal success. It's inhumane to abandon the PEPFAR effort. And this is a program that was put into place in a bipartisan way, led by President George W. Bush in partnership with leaders in the House of Representatives like Barbara Lee. It's shameful that because of their ideological extremism, Republicans are trying to crush the PEPFAR program, which ultimately helps the health, safety, and well-being of the American people by crushing HIV and AIDS. All of these efforts by the Trump administration to attack our public health successes, both here and abroad, put the American people in danger. And that's one of the reasons why House Democrats will be strongly opposed to the reckless Republican rescissions package. Thanks. Go to the back. You got it.
So some Democrats have said that they agree with Elon Musk when it comes to the bill. Do you think there's an opportunity here for Democrats to extend a hand to Musk, sort of bring him into your corner? Is that something you'd be interested in?
The opportunity that exists right now is to kill the GOP tax scam. It's legislation that we have been strongly opposed to and uniformly opposed to from the very beginning. Every single Democrat since February has voted against this one big ugly bill because it hurts everyday Americans. It rips health care away from millions of people. It snatches food out of the mouths of hungry children, and it rewards billionaires and their donors in ways that are fiscally irresponsible. To the extent that there's opportunity here, first and foremost, it begins with the effort to stop the GOP tax scam from ever becoming law. Thanks.
Just to put a finer point on that, should Elon Musk be welcomed back into the Democratic Party if that is something that is on the table, given everything he did as the leader of Doge?
Same answer.
Your former colleague here on the Hill, Lieutenant Governor Delgado, has gotten into the governor's race. What do you make of that? Is that a wise move? Do you welcome that? And from the perspective of next year, are you planning to stand behind Hochul regardless of any primary challenge?
I look forward to weighing in.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. That is a news conference from earlier Democrat leaders. That is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries criticizing the big, beautiful bill pushed by President Donald Trump. All right, now we want to shift over to some breaking news. There is a police presence at a hotel in Northeast Charlotte, and we got that confirmed with medic. Now, multiple crews responded to this hotel motel along Equipment Drive, which is just off West Sugar Creek Road and I-85 around noon today. Medic would only confirm that this was that they were at the scene. We just got the destination. Death investigation. Okay. So again, we can confirm this is a death investigation. Are we crediting medic with this or CMPD? Okay, CMPD. So we're getting, and this is why it's important to stay here on Live Impact News. We're getting information here in real time. That is Jeb relaying the information to me. Again, this is a death investigation. Now we can't confirm from CMPD. A death investigation is underway at a motel in Northeast Charlotte, and so medic confirmed this police presence earlier today, and they got there around noon, and they will only tell us, outside of just learning that this is a death investigation, that they were on scene, and Charlotte Mecklenburg Police is leading this investigation. Again, at this time, we can't confirm that this is a death investigation. All right, so let's go now. There's a live interview that's happening right now on the scene. Let's take a listen in.
Not the city of Charlotte, not Greg Jackson. Cedric Dean paid money out of his pocket. So each floor is 3 floors. The first floor has people that are in our program that's single people, right? And it's like 3 rooms, single people. The second floor is people that are couples. So it's 2 couples in a room, right? This receiving, supported living and treatment. And then the first floor is people that comes in that's single. So there are no other Hill Charlotte people here. We have found housing for every last family, but we were told, do not check on these people, leave them alone.
And is that because they're saying they're residents here? Is that what they were saying?
They were saying because they was residents here, you have to go through the eviction process. And I told them, you are misinterpreting the law. No mother that has a substance abuse problem can deliberately endanger her child. And no DSS worker will say that it's not reckless endangerment to have a child up here with a bunch of convicted felons and people that's on drugs.
What kind of services do you provide for people that are staying?
Community behavior health.
Okay. And how do they get into a program like yours?
We have these vehicles around here, the mobile crisis management vehicles, where we go out in the community and we talk directly to the people, because this all stemmed from when the city passed that ordinance criminalizing using the bathroom downtown, saying that if you use the bathroom downtown. So what we started doing, we started taking these mobile crisis management RVs out, and we literally started taking the people and allowing them to use the bathroom, take showers, and do stuff like that, so that they wouldn't be put in jail.
There was a report that there was a shooting here weeks ago. Has there been issues with crime at this site?
There was a shooting here while Hill Charlotte was, before I took over, there was a shooting here. When you go around and I'll take you on a tour, you will see the signs that I put up. No trespassing, violators will be prosecuted. I implemented an 11 o'clock curfew. You'll see the signs. I did that. To stop these people, you know, we're taking this back, man, and the goal is to take them back one at a time. This is the human trafficking hub. And you got a lot of sex, drugs, and murder going on here.
You guys, do people that come to you for treatment and stuff like that, do they, or for help, do they stay long term? What does it look like?
The goal is to get them permanent supported housing within 6 months. These people that come here have intellectual developmental disabilities, they have traumatic brain injuries, they have severe mental illnesses, severe persistent mental illness. So we take them, and our program is a diversion. The state is investing in organizations like us to divert them from psychiatric facilities and jails. So they bring them to us, and they give us a chance to teach them how to live independently.
When you're sitting here, obviously, so they were the final 2 people from Heal Charlotte, is that correct?
Finally, yep, final family.
Are there anyone else up there on the 3rd floor with them?
Not Heal Charlotte. Everybody's on the 3rd floor is our family. It's people that's in our program.
Okay.
That was just the only room, 331, that was the only room that was put off limits. It's like the city say, do not knock on that door. Don't you dare go check on those people. Don't you go see if they're alive. Don't you do nothing. It's not your responsibility. If you want them out of there, do an eviction. I ain't caring about no, I care about this lady's life. I cared about the child. And now, the child cannot speak. The only person that can speak for the child is Cedric Dean, and I promise you, I will speak everywhere I go to let the people know that the city of Charlotte killed that child.
Obviously, it's still a very fluid situation out here. Were U.S. Marshals out here earlier today?
Yes. And they, because we have been very intentional about working with law enforcement to make sure that if we identify people that's out here doing crime, drugs, human trafficking, anything, we report that. We are cleaning this place up. We welcome the U.S. Marshals out here. We welcome CMPD out here. We call them regularly to clean this place up.
And was it just a random bystander that happened to show up, or what was it?
No, it was, from my understanding, it was somebody that they had been informed, they had been selling drugs, and they had been looking for the person. And it wasn't a person in our program, it was somebody that was trying to come over here. And we have a mandatory policy that if you see something, you say something. So when they see people that come over here to this property, they let us know and we let law enforcement know.
And I have to ask you, because someone reached out to the station and said that there are other people that are being evicted here as well. Is that true?
No. Not one single family that's at this hotel right now that's being evicted. No, this is all the lies. These are the lies that Cedric Dean, you cannot find one eviction notice that has been filed. What you can find is receipts. And I've already gave them to the reporter, and I will continue to give them to the reporter, of me paying money for these families. Not one single family has received an eviction notice from Cedric Dean.
And I will ask you, when you moved into this facility, are there issues with mold in here? Are there issues in the site that you have or that you guys are struggling with?
Soon as we came into this, Hill Charlotte, for whatever reason, did not keep this building up to par. So soon as we came in, we got kilts, we got everything, and we went in, and as we identified problems, we have done everything we can to address it immediately. But the money that was given to Hill Charlotte from the city of Charlotte was mismanaged, misappropriated. If you seen the rooms that had feces in them, they had holes in the walls. This is how they left this facility. My people came in and they cleaned the facility up so that people could have a quality of life that was better than sleeping under a bridge or in a tent.
Obviously this has been an issue for you for the last couple months to try to clean this up, to try to move things forward. What would you say to respond to people that were here that are frustrated and that are angry that they had to leave, or that are here right now that are annoyed that this is all happening? What is your message to them?
I'm on your side. If you go right now to Concordia, you go to Columbus Circle, you go to Mountain Water, these are all property. You go to Bannister right here in Hidden Valley, these are properties of mine that I put the families at, that when they left and they didn't have nowhere to go, I opened the door for them to go over there, and they're there now. You welcome to go over there, but guess what? Ask them how much I charged them. The city, Hill Charlotte, charged them $750, $1,000. Cedric Dean ain't charged them nothing. I ain't told them they had to give me 1 penny.
And your staffer, she went in to check and she found...
She broke the rules because the city of Charlotte said don't do it. But, she wants to hear a voice. She want to see somebody move. So she did that, and that's the only reason we know we got a dead person in there, because the city told us we couldn't do it, but they sure wasn't coming up in here doing it.
How's she feeling right now, and how is
She's devastated. She has been traumatically affected by the fact of going and finding a woman that's dead with her child. And then knowing that she was breaking the rules, but it was her conscience. Her conscience literally told her, say, man, I don't care. Go in there. And that's what she did. And that's the only reason we even know.
That's all I need. Thank you so much, man.
Take care.
And did you want to walk us in there at some point, or? I know
you can go in there with me.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Up next, Sturtevant. That was a live interview, and that's what you get here on Live Impact News. You get these live interviews and this breaking, developing stories there on the scene. So let me sort of fill in the blanks right now. So right now there is a death investigation underway at a hotel. There's a police presence there at a hotel on Equipment Drive. This is just off West Sugar Creek Road and I-85 in Northeast Charlotte. So here's where I want to fill in the blanks here. So the guy that you just heard from says, or is alluding to the fact that he is with Hill Charlotte and that the hotel is a Hill Charlotte facility. That's according to him. We are still working to verify the information, but that is some of the information that he said during that interview. It appears, and we were able to do some digging during that interview, but that appears to be that new facility that opened last April, and we covered it. And you can go back on our website now and check it out. It was a new facility, a new hotel to help those who are experiencing homelessness in the area. And the nonprofit Hill Charlotte celebrated it with a ribbon cutting, again, last April. And basically is a newly renovated motel there in the Sugar Creek area. The campus had the capacity, or has the capacity of serving 100 families with housing support, fresh food, and other sort of resources. Now, what our story also tells us is that $2.5 million, a $2.5 million grant rather, from the city of Charlotte went into this project. So right now you're looking at a map of where the scene is. And again, the man that you just heard from saying that is a Hill Charlotte motel. Again, we are still working to figure out the details of this and verify some of those details that he gave our reporter, Walker Lawson, who was there on the scene. But we can confirm that there's a death investigation there, and that this is a motel off Equipment Drive in Northeast Charlotte. But again, we are still working to confirm that this is indeed connected to Hill Charlotte. But again, I just wanted to kind of give you a background that if it is the same facility, that would be that new facility that opened last April to help folks experiencing homelessness to get ahead and make an impact on a lot of folks' lives. And again, you can go back and check out that story. It's on our website right now from last April. That facility, that motel, supposed to serve about 100 families with housing support, fresh food, and job opportunities. $2.5 million in a grant from the city of Charlotte went into that to help Heal Charlotte to renovate and open that motel. But again, here's what we got confirmed. I just want to reiterate. A death investigation at a motel in Northeast Charlotte in the Sugar Creek area. That's what we have right now. That is the information. You heard that live interview. As soon as we get more information, are you seeing anything, Jeb, as far as information? Again, this is real time. We're getting stuff in real time. So as soon as we get more stuff, we'll make sure, more information, we'll make sure to pass that along.
Yeah, and I'll hop on right here to be completely transparent with you watching at home. So right now, I am actually in direct contact with our reporter on the scene, Walker Lawson. Last we heard, he is working to get a tour of that facility with the man you saw in that live interview. So the second we're able to get visuals or more information, we will bring them to you live.
Yeah.
To pull back the curtain a little bit, what essentially happened was Nick and I were looking at the feeds. We were aware Walker was on the way there. We looked at our grid, which is where we see the shots and what our reporters are up to, and we were able to see that interview happening in real time. So we wanted to bring that to you before we had any chance to vet, listen, or watch it. That is unedited, live, raw feeds brought to you the moment they happen. So as this story develops, obviously a lot of questions still being asked. We will make sure to bring that to you as soon as we get that. I will say it one more time. I'm in contact with Walker. He is currently gathering more information as we speak. So when this information drops, you will be the first to know. There will not be any kind of delay from when we get it to when you hear it. So I wanted to make that abundantly clear to those watching right now that that is the way it works here on Live Impact News, and we will keep you updated as soon as we hear more.
And that's why you keep it here on Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. All right, now let's shift away again. We will keep eyes on this situation as it develops. Let's go now to Massachusetts. This is inside the Karen Reed trial, the courtroom. We've been covering this trial for weeks. And the trial returns to court today after a day off due to the heat. And a new defense witness on the stand today, started today. The first witness of the day was Daniel Wolf, an accident reconstruction expert, was ARCCA. Just to give you some background on this trial, again, Reed is accused of hitting John O'Keefe, her Boston police officer boyfriend, with her SUV back in 2022 and leaving him to die alone in the snow outside of a house party in Canton, Massachusetts. Again, here is a live look at the witness stand. Let's take a listen in.
Sure. I wouldn't characterize it that way.
So before you testified, you wrote out questions that you thought could help, that you should be asked when you testified, correct?
So something I routinely do before testifying is prepare an outline of topics and questions that would best help be able to get out my opinions and the analysis I undertook, ultimately so that you all have an understanding of what I did.
So I'm asking you a question. You gave the explanation, but you're skipping over the answer to my questions. So I'll ask you again. Before you testified, did you write out a list of questions that you wanted to be asked?
Yes.
And when you listed out the questions, you also listed out the answers, didn't you?
A general response. It wouldn't be verbatim to that.
I didn't say verbatim, but did you list out the answers to each and every one of the questions that you had prepared?
Yes.
So for every question, there's an answer that you provided so that you could follow a script, so to speak, yes?
I wouldn't characterize it as a script.
One of the questions asks, so not being able to inspect vehicles is something that is not uncommon in your line of work? And your answer, absolutely not. Remember writing that out?
Yes.
Then you put a footnote, a comment. And you said, not sure if you want to put this somewhere in the direct examination. I have a feeling they are going to argue I didn't personally inspect the vehicles. I had enough information from the material I reviewed, so it wasn't necessary. If you need to show the jury, it doesn't matter in this case. Did you write that?
Yes.
When you're talking about they, I have a feeling they are going to argue I didn't personally inspect the vehicle. Who's they?
That'd be the Commonwealth.
And so when you were writing out these questions, as is your routine, with the answers, is this the mark of independence to you?
Well, I think, again, whether the Commonwealth asked me that question or the defense asked me that question, my response would be the same. It wouldn't change depending on who called me to testify. There are a number of cases, by the time I get involved, the evidence is gone from the roadway, the vehicle is gone. So it's certainly not necessary to inspect a vehicle. And I wanted the jury to have an understanding that because I didn't physically inspect the vehicle, it didn't affect my analysis in the case.
So you think that showed independence?
Yes.
Then you also had another question. Would it be fair to say that because you do a lot of nighttime visibility work, your cases frequently involve pedestrians? Remember that?
Yes.
And you said, yes, unfortunately, there is a direct correlation between time of day and pedestrian fatalities. Is that true?
Correct, yes.
And do they happen more often in the day or at night?
More often at night, yes.
Statistically speaking, by the way, this case involves nighttime, doesn't it?
Correct.
Statistically speaking, most of pedestrian fatalities occur during the evening and night hours. So my specialty in the area of lighting and human factors results in a lot of my cases involving pedestrians. Did you write that?
Yes.
In fact, when you testified, you shared that with the jury, didn't you?
Correct. I've testified to that twice last year as well as this year.
And in the notes that you wrote, when you shared it last year and this year, was it an important point to the jury?
I think so, because it helped gave them an understanding, I think, of my background in lighting and human factors. And as I mentioned earlier today, there's a direct correlation between time of day and pedestrian impacts, right? So my specialty in lighting and human factors results in me seeing many, many different types of pedestrian impacts.
So if it was important, why did you include a note? If you don't want me to say this, that's fine. Why did you include a note to the defense that if they didn't want you to say something that you thought was important, you would leave it out?
Well, I think because I didn't want to confuse the jury about a statistic, that just because we have inclement weather and dark lighting conditions, it doesn't automatically equal a pedestrian impact, right? We have to look at the evidence and the damage to the vehicle and the injuries to determine whether or not a collision occurred, not the visibility.
So you weren't trying to mislead the jury, you were trying to help them because they wouldn't understand something that you were trying to explain? Is that the way you're phrasing this?
I think at the end of the day it was to help them understand my background, how it relates to seeing a lot of pedestrian impacts.
Something was important and it helps the jury get to the truth. Why would you offer to leave it out?
Well, I didn't leave it out.
No, but you offered to. You would have if requested. Why did you invite, why did you invite somebody else to interject in your independence and guide you to leave something out? Why would you even provide that invitation to them?
Again, it's because I didn't want them to get hung up on a statistic that just because we have more pedestrian impacts at night and in bad weather, that this alleged incident happened at night under bad weather, to give it more weight, to weight the evidence more because of that statistic.
You done?
Yes.
If you make a mistake in court under oath, would you take the affirmative step on your own and correct that mistake?
I'll allow it.
I would do my best to do that, yes.
Well, when you say do your best, would you do that if you became aware of it?
Objection. I'm gonna allow it.
Yes.
Before you testified in a proceeding last year, there was a hearing that you testified in front of Her Honor and other people that were here, correct?
Correct.
I wasn't here.
No.
You were.
Yes.
And you testified about your experience, didn't you?
Correct, yes.
When you were sharing your experience with the court, it was important for the court to have an accurate understanding of what your experience was because it was being evaluated in that hearing, wasn't it?
Correct.
When you testified to the court, you testified that you had been qualified as an expert to testify over 20 times, didn't you?
I don't have the transcript. I believe I said approximately 20 times.
The reality is you hadn't. You'd only testified and been qualified 11 times at that point.
Correct. I misunderstood the question. I thought it also encompassed deposition, so I added those two and approximated at 20.
And at some point when you realized you had made a mistake in your testimony to the court, you had a chance to come back when you testified last year and fix it and clarify the record, didn't you?
Correct, which is why I provided a comment with the specific breakdown for clarification.
And when you came back and testified under oath the second time, on the record, under oath, did you clarify and fix the mistaken testimony that you had provided just days earlier?
I don't recall being asked the question, no.
No, it wasn't whether you're being asked. The question is, did you take the affirmative step to fix the misstatements under oath that you made? Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Move your approach.
Sure.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. Right there is the Karen Reed trial. It is underway. It looks like they are having a sidebar right now. So we'll get back to that when we can. We want to come back home and let's get a check of the weather because I mentioned how, man, this humidity, man, it is kicking my butt right now. Yeah, I got to Miles in this morning and it was tough.
Did we mention Nick Sturtevant runs?
I'm a runner. I don't know if he's joking or not. Look, I'm saying this to say, make sure that you wear your sunscreen, stay hydrated, and also we are weather alert tomorrow, so make sure you keep.
Yep, hydration is a 24-hour sport.
Yes, it is, and I'm learning that. Let's get to Majestic store with our forecast.
Well, good Friday afternoon to you. I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm, and boy, it's going to be a very hot and humid weekend, and it all starts today. Afternoon highs will rise into the upper 80s. Once you add in that humidity, though, it's going to feel like we are well into the 90s. Small storm chances, though, as we're heading into the afternoon. Saturday could be the first time that we hit 90 degrees this year. Also watching for those storm chances. Much of the same for Sunday, but temperatures will then dip back down into the mid-80s. Let's break down our severe weather threat. Now for today, if any storms do develop, they'll be very isolated in nature. Now tomorrow for Saturday, it's a WCNC weather alert day because the risk for severe storms is going to rise. We'll all be under that medium level risk. And then on Sunday, still widespread possibility of seeing some of those isolated strong to severe thunderstorms. But really on Sunday, the risk seems like it's going to be greatest east of our area. For your Friday afternoon, though, if you have any plans, it is going to be sunny to get us started. Still a nice mix of sun and clouds through the majority of the day. And look at those afternoon highs. I'm telling you, it is going to be hot. Make sure you're staying hydrated, especially if you work outside in the elements. Find a nice way to stay cool. And I always like to remind you, if you have any outdoor pets, make sure you don't forget about them either. If it's hot for us, it's also hot for them. This is for your Friday, our heat index value, what it's actually going to feel like. Look at this, around dinner time tonight, 6 o'clock, it's going to feel like it's 95 degrees today in Charlotte. And it doesn't stop there. Our futurecast as we head into our Saturday, it starts out very warm and muggy. If you have any plans for your Saturday morning, maybe you're heading out for that morning time walk or the farmer's market, get it done early because by 5 o'clock on our Saturday, there we go again with those feel-like values mainly into the 90s. Cooler though, of course, if you're over towards the mountains. And we're also looking at very hot and humid conditions through Sunday with 90s for heat indices for many of us. All right, let's break down that severe weather threat today. Isolated chances, low-end threat, really the odds of a severe storm developing for us today, it's very low, but it's not zero. No tornado risk today, no hail risk. If one of those storms does develop, it could bring some strong gusty winds up to around 60 miles an hour. Notice though, here's our futurecast, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, perhaps an isolated storm or two. I mean, not out of the the question, but very, very low. Generally, it's just going to be hot and muggy, and we'll have that sunshine. As we're heading into our Saturday, though, overnight, we could get some of these passing showers. Now, Saturday is a whole different story. That's our WCNC weather alert day. We're all under that medium level risk for severe storms. And as we're looking at those threats for Saturday, you need to stay weather aware. I know many of you want to head out to the lake. It's your Saturday. It's going to feel hot and muggy. We're going to be watching for wind threat and hail concerns. And then on Sunday, you can see that risk will kind of shift off to the east of us, the greater risk, but we'll also be watching for some storms on Sunday. Hour by hour, you can see this is Saturday morning. Starts out pretty quiet. We don't have any major concerns, and models are having a hard time picking up those storms on Saturday. But again, we'll be monitoring radar very carefully for you. We don't have any risk for tornadoes, but strong damaging winds and hail not out of the question. Then as we head towards Saturday night, quiet, 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 and then Sunday starts out quiet again. But notice as we head towards Sunday afternoon and into the evening time hours, that's when we could see some more storms form. 7-day forecast, here we go. We're heading into the weekend. Really all about the heat and humidity, and there is still some uncertainty when it comes to those storms, so make sure you do just stay close to the WCNC weather team. We'll keep you up to date all throughout the weekend. Have a good one.
We want to get to this live press conference, so let me get you some of the backstory. So a California high school sprinter was stripped of a state title due to a unsportsmanlike fire extinguisher celebration. You might have seen this all over social media and on different outlets. So a California high school sprinter, again, stripped of the state title for that celebration. Clara Adams right there on your left. 16-year-old sophomore at North Salinas High School, finished the 400 meters finals, 0.28 seconds before her closest competitor, but she was disqualified by the California Interscholastic Federation due to her celebration following that win. So here's a press conference happening right now. Let's take a live listen in.
And support her. And, you know, Dr. White filled me in a little bit further on just what a terrific young person she is, and what a great future she has, and all that's still in front of her. But for the present day, I certainly want to make it very clear, I don't get to speak for the entire city officially, but I'm pretty sure unofficially, under all circumstances, you're a champion, exactly. And we support you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Donahue. Salinas City Council person Gloria De La Rosa, this is her district, District 4, and she's here to have to say a few words as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Yes, Claire, you are our champion, and we're so proud of you. And thank you, Dad, Uncle, for all the support, all the staff here. Thank you for all the support you've given to her. But I want to say again, you are our champion, and I didn't have any doubts because I was also following you, and I was praying deep in my heart, Lord, give it to her, and he did. So you know what, regardless of what the outcomes are, she is our Salinas champion forever. We're here for you. God bless. God bless.
Thank you very much. I want to call up next Nick Torres from Tesla Sports Academy, and he's also like a family member, and he's worked with David and Claire for years. Nick.
How's everybody doing today?
All right.
Just wanted to say that working next to Coach D and Clara has been a phenomenal experience. She's a very talented student athlete. She's a model citizen, and these are just the beginning of like her journey and these accomplishments. She's very humble. She's polite. She's a leader, and you know, the iconic celebration that was displayed was paying homage to you know, the champion Maurice Green. She's a historian as well. She knows the sport very well. So all that she's done, this is just like the tip of the iceberg for her, and we're looking forward to, you know, as a community, seeing her elevate on her journey. And I'm just thankful to be a part of it. I'm thankful for Ms. Galvan and Dr. White here for allowing us to highlight Clara today. Thank you.
I'm going to call up next civil rights attorney Dante Pointer and Marlon Monroe. You know, at the end of the day, we're here to get justice for Claire because of what's a handful of people thought that they would do, and it turned out to be the wrong thing. At the end of the day, we're looking and we see this event has over 3 million tweets and Twitters all over the world, and 89% of those people feel like we do, that Claire got robbed, and that, you know what, we're here to make sure that justice is done. Dante, Marlon.
I want to thank everyone for gathering here today.
All right, so we want to shift away from this press conference and get you back to that breaking news in Northeast Charlotte, where there's a death investigation underway on Equipment Drive there. Let's take a listen in.
The employees here found something they wanted us to alert us to. When officers got here, they found an adult deceased and an infant child deceased. Right now, we don't have any reason to believe there's any criminal activity afoot. ME's come out here to respond to help us with the investigation. Homicide's here to investigate the incident. Anytime we have a child deceased, and we come out and investigate. You know, it's not normal for children to decease in this way. So we'll come out here and investigate the incident, make sure there's nothing criminal afoot. We don't have reason to believe there's any criminal activity, but we're going to investigate anyway.
Do you believe it's a natural cause of death for both?
Everything right now is leading to not being criminal, so we're not sure what exactly happened.
We also know that, do you know if this person was a part of a certain program, why they were here?
No, so because of the fact that we haven't ID'd this person properly, I can't tell you whether she was part of the program.
Have there been additional deaths at this property in recent weeks? We don't have information.
Not that I'm familiar with.
You guys good? All right. Thank you, guys. Sorry.
You're good.
Okay. There you go. And if you could pull it out the pocket for me.
Okay, that press conference just wrapped up there. Again, a death investigation underway on Equipment Drive in Northeast Charlotte. That's the latest from CMPD. So, again, a lot of, or I don't want to say a lot. We have some new details coming in. We got in that towards the middle of that press conference, so we have some stuff that we need to sort out. But we can say that CMPD said that they don't have a reason to believe this death investigation stems from criminal activity, and they have not ID'd or identified the people involved in this investigation. So as soon as we get more information on that, we will bring that along. We want to take you back to a interview that we got from a man connected to this facility. He says, and it appears, and again, we're working to verify that this information, that he says that this is a Hill Charlotte facility. If it's the same facility that we've been doing some research on, this is the one that opened last April to help folks experiencing homelessness get fresh food, obviously a place to stay, and job opportunities. Let's take a listen in to this interview that we got moments ago. Let's take a listen in.
Not the city of Charlotte, not Greg Jackson. Cedric Dean paid money out of his pocket. So each floor is 3 floors. The first floor has people that are in our program that's single people, right? And it's like 3 rooms, single people. The second floor is people that are couples. So it's 2 couples in a room, right? This receiving, supported living and treatment. And then the first floor is people that comes in that's single. So there are no other Hill Charlotte people here. We have found housing for every last family, but we were told, do not check on these people leave them alone.
And is that because they're saying they're residents here? Is that what they were saying?
They were saying because they was residents here, you have to go through the eviction process. And I told them, you are misinterpreting the law. No mother that has a substance abuse problem can deliberately endanger her child. And no DSS worker will say that it's not reckless endangerment to have a child up here with a bunch of convicted felons and people that's on drugs.
What kind of services do you provide for people that are staying?
Community behavior health.
Okay. And how do they get into a program like yours?
We have these vehicles around here, the mobile crisis management vehicles, where we go out in the community and we talk directly to the people, because this all stemmed from when the city passed that ordinance criminalizing using the bathroom downtown, saying that if you use the bathroom downtown. So what we started doing, we started taking these mobile crisis management RVs out. And we literally started taking the people and allowing them to use the bathroom, take showers, and do stuff like that so that they wouldn't be put in jail.
There was a report that there was a shooting here weeks ago. Has there been issues with crime at this site?
There was a shooting here while Charlotte was, before I took over, there was a shooting here. When you go around, and I'll take you on a tour, you will see the signs that I put up. No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. I implemented an 11 o'clock curfew. You'll see the signs. I did that. To stop these people, you know, we're taking this back, man, and the goal is to take them back one at a time. This is the human trafficking hub. And you got a lot of sex, drugs, and murder going on here.
You guys, do people that come to you for treatment, stuff like that, do they, or for help, do they stay long term? What does it look like?
The goal is to get them permanent supported housing within 6 months. These people that come here have intellectual developmental disabilities, they have traumatic brain injuries, they have severe mental illnesses, severe persistent mental illness. So we take them, and our program is a diversion. The state is investing in organizations like us to divert them from psychiatric facilities and jails. So they bring them to us, and they give us a chance to teach them how to live independently.
When you're sitting here, obviously, so they were the final 2 people from Heal Charlotte, is that correct?
Final, yep, final family.
Are there anyone else up there on the 3rd floor with them?
Not Heal Charlotte. Everybody's on the 3rd floor is our family. It's people that's in our program. Okay. That was just the only room, 331, that was the only room that was put off limits. It's like the city say, do not knock on that door. Don't you dare go check on those people. Don't you go see if they're alive. Don't you do nothing. It's not your responsibility. If you want them out of there, do an eviction. I ain't caring about no, I care about this lady's life. I cared about the child. And now, the child cannot speak. The only person that can speak for the child is Cedric Dean, and I promise you, I will speak everywhere I go to let the people know that the city of Charlotte killed that child.
Obviously, it's still a very fluid situation out here. Were U.S. Marshals out here earlier today?
Yes. And they, because we have been very intentional about working with law enforcement to make sure that if we identify people that's out here doing crime, drugs, human trafficking, anything, we report that. We are cleaning this place up. We welcome the U.S. Marshals out here. We welcome CMPD out here. We call them regularly to clean this place up.
And was it just a random bystander that happened to show up, or what was it?
No, it was, from my understanding, it was somebody that they had been informed, they had been selling drugs, and they had been looking for the person. And it wasn't a person in our program, it was somebody that was trying to come over here. And we have a mandatory policy that if you see something, you say something. So when they see people that come over here to this property, they let us know, and we let law enforcement know.
And I have to ask you, because someone reached out to the station and said that there are other people that are being evicted here as well. Is that true?
No. Not one single family that's at this hotel right now that's being evicted. No, this is all the lies. These are the lies that Cedric Dean, you cannot find one eviction notice that has been filed. What you can find is receipts. And I've already gave them to the reporter, and I will continue to give them to the reporter, of me paying money for these families. Not one single family has received an eviction notice from Cedric Dean.
And I will ask you, when you moved into this facility, are there issues with mold in here? Are there issues in the site that you have or that you guys are struggling with?
Soon as we came into this, is Hill Charlotte, for whatever reason, did not keep this building up to par. So soon as we came in, we got kilts, we got everything, and we went in, and as we identified problems, we have done everything we can to address it immediately. But the money that was given to Hill Charlotte from the city of Charlotte was mismanaged, misappropriated. If you seen the rooms that had feces in them, they had holes in the walls. This is how they left this facility. My people came in and they cleaned the facility up so that people could have a quality of life that was better than sleeping under a bridge or in a tent.
If you, obviously this has been an issue for you for the last couple months to try to clean this up, to try to move things forward. What would you say to respond to people that were here that are frustrated and that are angry that they had to leave, or that are here right now that are annoyed that this is all happening? What is your message to them?
I'm on your side. If you go right now to Concordia, you go to Columbus Circle, you go to Mountain Water, these are all property. You go to Bannister right here in Hidden Valley, these are properties of mine that I put the families at, that when they left and they didn't have nowhere to go, I opened the door for them to go over there, and they're there now. You welcome to go over there, but guess what? Ask them how much I charged them. The city, Hill Charlotte, charged them $750, $1,000. Cedric Dean ain't charged them nothing. I ain't told them they had to give me 1 penny.
And your staffer, she went in to check and she found...
She broke the rules because the city of Charlotte said don't do it. But, you know, she wants to hear a voice. She want to see somebody move. So she did that, and that's the only reason we know we got a dead person in there, because the city told us we couldn't do it, but they sure wasn't coming up in here doing it.
How's she feeling right now, and how is the...
She's devastated. She has been traumatically affected by the fact of going and finding a woman that's dead with her child. I mean, and then knowing that she was breaking the rules, but it was her conscience. Her conscience literally told her, say, man, I don't care. Go in there. And that's what she did. And that's the only reason we even know.
That's all I need. Thank you so much, man.
Take care.
And did you want to walk us in there at some point, or? I know
you can go in there with me.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertman. That was an interview that we got, and we actually brought you this live as a death investigation continues there at a Northeast Charlotte motel. Walker Lawson is there. We'll have more from him throughout the day on the latest developments. All right, we want to get back now to a press conference that's happening in California, where a California high school sprinter stripped of her state title due to unsportsmanlike fire extinguisher celebration is speaking out. Here she is Claire, let me make sure I get her name right, Claire Adams, 16-year-old sophomore at North Salinas High School. Let's take a listen to it.
Yeah, I celebrated. I've never, ever celebrated like that, ever before in my track career, ever. So for the people who know me, they know. If you guys have been to my track meet before, y'all know that that was the first time I've ever done something like that. But I did that because it was well deserved. Yeah. And right. During that race, I beat a USC commit and a Stanford commit. So where am I going?
She's a sophomore.
So yeah, after I sprayed my spikes, the officials, not one official, the officials, like 3, 4, they came at me and they started like yelling at me and screaming at me, and one of the officials grabbed my arm. So yeah, that's when my dad went over the fence, because if someone grabbed your child, you would do the same thing. So when he went over the fence, he tried to get over to the field, and then apparently they got the PD, like following him and stuff. It was just weird. So when the officials came up to me to tell me, they had to get like 3 officials to tell me that they were going to DQ me, which is just crazy. So the 3 officials came up to me, and they were like, "We're disqualifying you for unsportsmanlike conduct." And I was just like, what? Like, I can't even explain like what was going through my mind, because it was just like blank. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wake up. Nah, I was up. And yeah, they told me they were going to disqualify me for unsportsmanlike conduct. And they didn't, that's all they said. They didn't go into depth. They didn't really say, they just said, for what I did, it was unsportsmanlike, you're done. So I kept telling them, okay, call my dad. Call my dad. They kept saying no. They kept saying no. My dad's a coach. He's a coach too. Call him. Still said no. They talked to my head coach, but they didn't talk to my sprint coach. The coach that is there when it's cold outside, when it's nighttime. They didn't call him, so that was weird. What else? So when they told me that I was going to be DQ'd, they just told me that. They just told me no, that they weren't going to call him, and then after a while, they just left me standing there. And I had to watch the girls get on the podium without me. I had to watch somebody else get on the #1 spot that I was supposed to stand on. And that wasn't cool at all. That was wrong. That was foul. Trifling. So many negative words. It was just wrong. And then after that, my dad came and got me. I was just crushed. Yeah, it was really bad. They made me feel like nothing. They made me feel like, they tried to make me feel like I did something wrong, but I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I was away from my competitors. I was away from people, so they couldn't say what I did was dangerous, because it wasn't dangerous. Sprayed the floor, I didn't do it on the track. Maurice Green did it on the track, and it was still cool, but I knew I couldn't do it on the track, because if I would have did it on the track, we wouldn't even be here right now. And I knew that. So that's what happened. And yeah, I do need to see counseling, because to be honest, my mental's not really 100% all the way there. And if I'm going to compete this summer, which I have Nike coming up and USATF Junior Olympics qualifiers coming up, and AAU, I have to be mentally stable, and you can't run with a messed up mind. You're not going to run good. I'm not going to perform how I did at state if my mind's not right. So yeah, I need that. And my dad does too. He was there with me. We both need it. So if you know me, especially if you train with me and are on my track team or was on my track team, y'all know how hard I've worked, and y'all know that nobody sees when I throw up on the track. Throw up with my teammates too. I'm not the only one, but y'all don't see that. Y'all don't see when it's freezing, we want to stop, them 150 repeats, man, them 800s. Y'all don't know. But it's hard, and it's not easy, and I worked so hard for that title. I've been working for it since I was 5 years old. So for it to get taken away like that within minutes was just not cool. It was not cool. And the CIF, really? Like, y'all are wrong for that. Y'all still haven't contacted my dad either. He's right here. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And that's pretty much how I feel about the whole situation. I've gotten people that I ran against telling me I did nothing wrong. Even my competitors are saying that it was cool. I got professional athletes texting me that what I did was not a problem, that I'm bringing fun to the sport.
Yes.
You go to a football game, you know you're going to have fun. It's a football game. People are going to do the most when they score. You go to a basketball game, somebody's going to slam dunk. You know it's going to be fun. People are going to go crazy. You go to a track meet. I hear all the time, y'all just running. Y'all just running. Like, how? What's exciting? You know? It's probably only exciting if you really know the sport. But if you don't know the sport, you cannot know football or basketball and know it's going to be exciting. If you don't know track, you think it's boring because they're just running.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right now, you're watching a live press conference there in Salinas, California. That's the high school athlete, the sprinter, Claire Adams, who was disqualified, losing the state title after a celebration made famous more than 20 years ago by sprinter Maurice Green, gold medalist Maurice Green. She used a fire extinguisher to spray off her track spikes. Again, it was a celebration. Her title was stripped from her. So that press conference is happening right now. We want to go now, come back home. We want to go out to Uptown because it's a big night, Jeb. I don't know if you got your ticket, man, but the Savannah Bananas, they're playing, I think they call it Banana Ball game?
Banana Ball.
Banana Ball, okay. I just want to make sure I get that right. I don't want any problems with any fans. What's happening at Bank of America Stadium, that's the home of Charlotte FC, my Carolina Panthers. And because it's such a high demand game, there are two games. So there's one tonight and then there's one tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Bank of America Stadium. The folks are already out there having a blast. Our Anna King is out there right now having a blast. Anna, you talked to some fans. Talk about what's going on right now.
Yeah, I did. Fans out here told me they are so excited for the games today and tomorrow. Now, to paint the picture for you, things here do not kick off until around 7 p.m. But just behind me, you can see fans are already lined up, ready for things to start. And they say they've been out here since around 10 a.m. this morning. Now, this is the first time in Charlotte that the Savannah Bananas are here. The two nights are expected to bring in around 150,000 fans. Now, many were out here bright and early. They told me at the merch shop picking up banana gear. So that's hats, towels, jerseys, and more. And I also spoke to some fans who told me they are so lucky that the rain here held off, but they would have been out here rain or shine, Nick.
Anna, did you get some merch?
I didn't get merch, but the merch looks amazing. I've seen so many beanies, hats, jerseys. It looks amazing. Now, also what's really cool out here is that Charlotte is the only location so far that where the demand was so high from fans that they added that second night. So like I said, again, we take another quick look. You can see fans out here are so excited. So many people told me they were out here waiting for the parade and honestly just for the first pitch to start. So, and that's supposed to be happening within the next few hours.
All right, that is Anna King there in Uptown Charlotte outside of the bank. Again, the Savannah Bananas, that's a tongue twister. Savannah Bananas have the first, I got it, Savannah Bananas, all right. She's going to pick on me when she get back into the newsroom. Savannah Bananas, they'll be here playing tonight at 7 p.m. Also a game tomorrow at 7 p.m. Anna, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Man, that's it's a lot going on. I didn't realize there's so much going on this weekend, Jeb. It's a lot happening, man.
Extremely busy weekend in the Queen City this weekend.
And we got a lacrosse game tonight, too.
And it's important to note about the lacrosse. So folks who are in Midtown, kind of that Elizabeth area, when the Premier Lacrosse League is in town, it's not just like the Carolina Chaos are in town. The entire league travels. I'm going to make this comparison here for important. Like, it's like a circus.
Okay.
It's the entire league with all of every team's fans, every team's players. They travel around in massive trailers. We actually had them on Live Impact News a couple weeks back to explain how it works.
Yeah.
The entire league is in town right now.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's massive. You combine that with Taste of Charlotte, Savannah Bananas. I mean, it is going to be hopping all across the city this weekend.
Be safe, stay hydrated, sunscreen. And make sure you have the app available, our app available, because we are weather alert tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think it's I want to jump in there and make sure, it's going to be spotty. So it's going to be sunny one second, it's going to be rainy the next.
Yeah.
And some of that rain, we are anticipating the chance for some severe storms.
Yeah.
They may not be in Mecklenburg County, but if they're near Mecklenburg County and there's lightning, they have the 30 for 30 rule in Bank of America Stadium. So you'll have to wait 30 minutes if there is lightning around the vicinity. So that could potentially impact the Savannah Bananas game tomorrow. And you'll just want to be safe and stay dry tomorrow as well. So stay on top of it.
And we're not trying to be a wet blanket. We want to keep you safe.
No, yeah, right. You have the ad. You can have it's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fantastic, good food, good energy, good vibes. But
great food, a great ball game.
Yep.
A lot happening. Great weather. Even though it's going to be hot, it's great weather. All right, so we'll shift gears now. Let's go back to that. That press conference is still happening there in Salinas, California, where that high school sprinter was stripped of the state title after making an iconic, I could say, due to where the celebration came from over 20 years ago from Maurice Green. We're using that fire extinguisher to spray off her track shoes after winning. Let's take a listen in. It's happening still. She just spoke, but here she is right here on the podium as well.
They don't have specifics, and that's smart on their part, because when it's up to their discretion, that gives them a lot of power. So it's up to the person how he feels that day. If he don't like the way you walk, the way you run, the way you talk, he can pull the plug on you at any given moment. Those officials, they're supposed to be teachers. But CIF, they're known to be bullies. The gentleman was quick to grab my daughter's arm. And we know CIF has a rule that you can't go over the wall, you can't be on the field. It's well respected. But like I said before, I wear the hats of a coach and a father. And the moment a stranger put their hands on my child, I'm no longer a coach. The wall was kind of high. I weigh about 270. I didn't think about it. I became very athletic that moment. It all came back. Went to go find out what was going on. I knew Clara across the finish line. She came to me, like she said, high-fived her. We're not gonna lie, we came into the race knowing we were gonna win. That's why the fire extinguisher was there. We knew we were gonna win. I believe that Clara cracked the narrative. We know South Section, St. Mary's Academy, they have a girl that's a USC commit. And she was chosen to win since February. South Section always get respect to win everything. Up north, we never get any type of respect, any notary. Central Valley, no respect, no notary. And it bothered us, it bothered Clara, it bothered me. It seemed very disrespectful. Been down to LA twice. Claire's the only one on her team that ran to Mount Sac and ran to Arcadia. It's the national high school meets. They're national. And I went to go down there and get a template against a girl that Claire beat. In the 400, I had Claire take her foot off the gas for 40 meters, purposely. And Claire, the girl better beat Claire by maybe a heel. And I told Claire, I don't want to win Mount Sac. I don't want to be the Mount Sac champion. I want to be the state champion. There you go. So it's a science. It's a science. Fast forward, state championship. We're going to finals, the 400 meter. Claire handled her business. She executed. And they figured that the girl was going to go into a storybook ending with a state championship going into USC. She still gets a storybook ending, but she goes to second place. Right. And that's fine, because the state of California, we're under one division. We're not like Texas and Florida, single A to 6A. That's 6 champions. That's 6. In the state of California, we're under one division. We have our sections. We're under one umbrella. There's one champion. One. Just one. And the 400-meter champion is her, no matter what they say. So I know I ruffled some feathers. I have my opinions on certain things. When I say this, don't quote me on it. Just my opinions. No, I'm saying just don't quote me on it. Just saying that, I just believe Clara cracked the narrative, and that ruffled some feathers. The celebration, it was, like I said, off the track. I told her that purposely, get off the track. I know how those officials are. I know the way they are. It's a huge governing body. And Claire did what she's supposed to do. She had her fun. One time in her life, she celebrates. And part of America is ridiculing me and my daughter. And I said, you know what? I take full responsibility, because if I didn't give her the fire extinguisher, we wouldn't be here right now. She would have just been a state champion. But I told Clara that Saturday, I looked at her and I told her, when we got to our hotel, she's crying herself to sleep. The cameras ain't there for that. And I told Clara, I said, you know what? This is probably the best, worst thing that's ever happened to you. We wake up, I'm getting messages from CNN, LA Times, Fox News, New York Post. I open my phone just to get online, and I see a big picture of my daughter about this whole thing. Australia News. She's on news overseas, across the water. And I said to say that, you know, from a fire extinguisher that costs $24.99, this is where we're at right now. And we've already been contacted by Princeton, UCLA track, already. Claire's been offered a NIL deal from this. Pac-Man Jones, former Cincinnati Bengal. I won't disclose the amount that was presented to her for a 16-year-old. I think even for somebody my age, makes me excited. But Claire's the one running those, you know, she's the one running around that track. It's her, and I think she believes she deserves all the flowers and everything that she gets. I tell her to stay off the internet because it's brutal. You got mostly people that are upset, they're middle-aged men. That's what kind of throws me off. They're mad at a 16-year-old girl. And the ones that are angry, they're ones that's never suited up before a day in their life. They've never been through the sports, the athletic, of none of it. So, you know, they have an underlying hate for athletes. Just like those CIF officials, majority of them never played sports before. They're rule thumpers. And then when you ask them what the rule is, they can't answer. That's why they're not answering calls. They're not answering KSPW. They're not answering CNN. They're not answering KON. Why are you hiding? You only hide when you've done something wrong. We're not hiding. You guys seen us all over there. You just Google Clara and we popped up everywhere. At least 4 pages, 5 pages of us. I had to say that moving forward, you know, we're going to keep the fire extinguisher in the trunk in case of emergency. I gotta worry about getting Clara's mental right, because Nike found out about it. We got an alert. She has an opportunity to do something big under the U20. You know, Clara's only 16.
You're right. She's 11.
And she's able to go to U20s because she runs NCAA times already. All Claire has to do is make podium. She only got to cross the finish line first. If she can just make podium, this is bigger than CIF state championship. Nike National is a national event. National. So they say things are happening for a reason. At the time when you're going through the struggle, you don't know because it's so hard. But this Nike thing is a really big situation. She gets to run the 400 and the 200. And the high school 200 will be the Emerge Elite. And for the 400, she'll be running against girls from University of Arkansas, lane 5, University of Kentucky, lane 6. It's not going to be like, you know, North County, lane 4. These are going to be college girls. These are going to be college girls. This is a really big deal. Them girls drove to the meet. You know, Claire can't even drive yet. You know, they got their own apartments. You know, so that's a big deal. CIF, a message to them is, like the attorney said, Pointer said, we just want to give you guys a chance to do the right thing. There's a window of opportunity, and we all know windows close. That's our first approach, non-aggressive. Just do the right thing, crown this queen.
Thank you. Yes.
Give
It looks like we lost his feed here. The shot's frozen. That is a press conference happening live in Salinas, California, after a high school sprinter was stripped of her state title because of a celebration with a fire extinguisher. You probably see this all over your social media pages and feeds. So that press conference there was, I believe, at her high school, right? Okay. It was at her high school. All right. So we talked about it. There's so many things to do, and we mentioned this event Taste of Charlotte. Let me finish my sentence. So many things to do this weekend here in Charlotte. Taste of Charlotte is happening this weekend. And so if you don't know, if you just got to the area, Taste of Charlotte is a 3-day food festival in Charlotte. It features samples from area restaurants. I mean, you're talking about live music, activities, so many things to do, and so many people show up to this event. This is not just local businesses or restaurants. These are regional and national partners all coming together to put on a great festival. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jeb, tonight or today is the first day, or this evening is the first. Is it the first evening of Taste of Charlotte?
Yep, starts today.
It starts today.
It started about 4 hours ago.
Okay.
Yep,
I just wanted to make
11
sure.
to 11.
11 to 11. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So it's underway right now. So look, you may be ducked out of work early, or you may be planning to leave work a little early, or you may be planning, to leave work at normal time, go home, and then go out there. Or you might be just off today. So before you go out there, here's some things you need to know. Our Vanessa Rufus got a chance to talk to one of the organizers of Taste of Charlotte. Let's listen in.
And we want to start things off with some fun. So we've got, with Taste of Charlotte, Jessica Robards to preview this fun event coming up in just a few days. So it's a multi-day event, June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we wanted to give folks an idea of what they can expect. This is happening in Uptown, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We take over the streets, or Tryon Street, for 5 blocks. We start at the heart of Center City, which is Trade and Tryon, and go all the way down to Brooklyn Village and line the streets with Charlotte local area restaurants. That is the local part, is supporting these restaurants in downtown Charlotte. So, or Uptown, right?
Yes, Uptown, going to be filled with different places for folks to check out. From what we've covered the event in the past, and from what we've seen, usually it's either, I don't want to say food trucks, but there's some sort of like vendor type setup where people can go from tent to tent, if you will, and sample. You actually brought some props for us. This is a token situation. Is that what you have? Yeah. So explain how folks can actually partake in the food.
Yeah. So it's a free, non-ticketed event. So it's free to the community. We line it up with the end of school and kick off summer, and it's a lot of fun for everybody. But it is a restaurant festival. We don't have a lot of food trucks out there, which is part of the confusion. Like, I'm glad I'm kind of clearing this up, unless like a restaurant has like a mobile unit that they're out there. But they come out, and the restaurants do set up in tents, and they get to feature 3 menu items that they want to share to the public, and you buy these tasting coins, and so you can buy as much or as little as you want and go around and taste all these different items that the restaurants produce. And if you like what you taste at Taste of Charlotte, you should be going back to their restaurant for the full menu and the full entree. So that's really the gist of it, and people will go around. Each of the menu items will range anywhere from 1 to 4 coins, so they're small tastings, and you could taste multiple restaurants, multiple flavors. The flavors are, we're trying to represent, the like Italian, we've got Caribbean, we've got Ruth's Chris and STK and the steaks, we've got Latin, pizza, burgers, just every Charlotte flavor that you could think of that I can even fit on Tryon Street. I wish I could fit everybody. We try and make sure everybody's represented so you can have a good taste out there.
Let me get a look at those tokens.
Yeah,
Here, pass one over. I want to see. So,
keep that coin cup.
All right, so folks, here they are. So we can see it actually says Taste of Charlotte. And is this a good representation of how many coins you get?
Yep, so in 1 cup, you get 14 coins, and each coin, the more coins you buy on site and on the digital app for digital coins, which I'll go over in a minute, that changes the cost a little bit if you buy more in bulk. Okay. But yeah, you just use these coins and you go around and taste all the different items that have a big, here's another one with like Food Lion Taste of Charlotte. Oh, reaching for you. Food Lion is our big supporter of our event, and we're so thankful that they help put this on, which makes it free to the community. And I'm just kind of pulling up the menu here. We've got a brochure that'll be out at every coin booth, and you can just kind of pick it up and figure out what you like to eat, circle it, go around and make sure you're hitting all those booth items that you want. And if you can't eat everything in one day, you can certainly come back on, Saturday and Sunday to try things as well.
Yeah, it's a 3-day event. You mentioned all of the different types of restaurants that are represented. Is there a certain radius that these restaurants come from? Are they all strictly in Charlotte, or does it kind of branch out Mecklenburg County in general, or does it go beyond?
Yeah, so it's local to Charlotte. We've had restaurants from the greater Charlotte area as well. We like to include Rock Hill, Gastonia, Monroe, Indian Trail, but mostly for what we have room for, the people that have applied and gotten in are, in that center city or in the greater Charlotte areas. But everybody's local. These are not restaurants from, Charleston or Raleigh or anything like that. That's what the local part is.
Yeah, and we wanted to point out for our viewers here who are watching on Live Impact News that our producer Jeb has pulled up the website for Taste of Charlotte, and that particular site where it talks about all of the restaurants. And actually, Jessica, you can look over there, and you can see some of what our viewers are able to see right now, so you have an idea of all of the different places. And I'm familiar with some of these as being right there in Charlotte and beyond, but like you mentioned, right, just for our area.
Yeah. A lot of the flavors, we've got a wing place at Voodoo. I can see you scrolling through the Smoke Pit, which is award-winning barbecue here in North Carolina out of Concord. So yeah, we do reach up in there as well. We've got Mr. Three's Crab Pot. We've got STK for the steak. Enrico's Italian. I know I'm just kind of going through when you scroll and what I'm seeing here. The lobster mac and cheese from Cuzzo's Cuisine, they come back every year. Just really every category that we could try and represent in Charlotte that has a Charlotte restaurant, we're trying to do so everybody gets a flavor that they like.
Yeah, I have a family visiting town actually during this period of time, so I was thinking about bringing them, and I'm just kind of curious, what sort of atmosphere is this like? It sounds like the street is closed because you have folks who are going to be walking around on try-on. Do you have live music, or are there other events or just other things that people need to know about as far as attractions when they show up to the area?
Yeah, great question. We have packed this festival. Every block has a different theme. There's live entertainment. There's the WCNC main stage where it's music, and we have we're not Love and Life or anything, so we're not bringing like major musical acts, but that's local musicians are there to perform, as well as heavily scheduled with community groups. The community groups that are dance troupes, cheerleaders, drumming performances, yoga classes, martial arts, like every 5 minutes there's pretty much something going on, and so we're real excited about that one. That's at Levine and Tryon, yeah, of course. And then we have 2 other area stages. One is in the Tavern, which is our beer area, craft brewery, which we're featuring Victory Brewing lineup there, where you can taste and have those types of items there. But that stage has dueling pianos, so it's got this like bar feel. People raise their glasses, they sing along, cheers, that type of thing. But then when you do the counterpart in the wine cellar, you take, it's more relaxed. You've got your chill wine tasting and wine drinking there. We have singer-songwriters and jazz and that type of feel, so you can find an atmosphere on a different block. And then we've got the cocktail corner, which is a little bit new. It's got DJ music, a Barbados Island feel. It's on the Beckler Plaza to hang out there and just have like a great time, and so this new cocktail corner is actually new, that we get to feature kind of off the beaten path in the Beckler Plaza, but it's just like right there off of Tryon Street, because if you're telling friends and family, this place does get busy. The corridor is busy, the other side on all the sidewalks, but I just love the fact that people are kind of out and about, hanging out with each other. Again, being free to the public, it's just a lot of fun for everybody to get together. I love it.
Yeah. So explain that, free to the public, but you talked about different tiers of coin purchases that you could do. So if you could you walk through maybe some of the pricing then?
Yeah,
for folks
so
to know?
It's $20 for a cup of coins, and then as many cups as you want keeps going. That's what you get on site when you go to a coin booth. A coin booth is located on every block. So just come on site at any block and get started, grab a menu and see where you're at. The different blocks are like 100s through 500s, so you'll find where you want to go and kind of figure out where you are. But if you want to avoid the lines, you would get on the tasteofcharlotte.com, go to the app, or and just download from the App Store, the Apple App Store and Google Play, Taste of Charlotte Guest. Create your account, and I'd say do it now because there is an activation process where you just check your email and activate and then buy your coins. And so 35 coins is, I think, $50, and then it goes from there. That'd probably be, and you can get more or less. It's really up to you, however much you want to do. And that's going to cover all your food and beverage items, including not just the restaurants, but all the beer that is there, all the wine, all the cocktails. But if you don't, if you want to just shop, and all of our local artisans and that type of thing that people are selling, you can just, each one of those purchases just goes directly to, cash credit for supporting that local artist that's on site as well.
Yeah. So why Taste of Charlotte? Why should folks come and taste Charlotte?
I mean, this is the premier event where you can taste all these different restaurants in one spot, and then just get reminded of like who's been here, who's new, who do you want to try over the summer, for the rest of the year, that type of thing. They're giving you a taste, and then they're also giving out a lot of promo items too. So, restaurants may be giving away like 20% off this, free dessert, free app. Like, you don't know until you get there and try their items and find out what they're giving away, so you can go visit them again for the rest of the summer and the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have some great gems of restaurants here in our area, so it's cool, to your point, that folks can come to one spot and taste them all if they want.
That's right. One thing I was going to bring up about the digital part is kind of back to the coins, is downloading the app. I can help you demo it really quick. And I've got a little phone here, and we've got of course you can buy coins, and then you just pay the vendor that way. Yeah. And then you don't have to stand in the coin line. But we've developed a little system where you can share coins with friends digitally. And so I'll give you this phone right here. Oh. Yeah, you got one coin left. Poor thing.
Here we go. Can y'all see it?
I don't know if it shows up. So
it shows up.
All right. There's me. I've got a lot of coins.
Well,
I know,
Miss Moneybags.
Seriously. And then I would like to give you some coins if you don't mind.
Okay.
So go to the share coin little menu item.
Okay. And it says give coins and receive coins.
Yeah, so you're going to receive coins and I'm going to give you coins.
Amazing. Oh, okay, and it's got a QR code.
Yep, so we'll just tap.
Oh man.
We're just going to tap and give some coins. Do we do this on camera? Or?
Oh yeah, we got an overhead shot. Oh, it did it.
I gave you some coins. And so now you have the ability, to receive those coins.
21 coins now.
Now I'm left with 104. Sorry.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you can do that with family and friends. Sometimes people have one coin left or they're leaving and they just want to tap their friends. Sometimes families share this as well, where they've got some kids with phones and they maybe will go off and get their own meals, and you can text mom or dad and say, I'm out of coins, and you can purchase more and put them on there as well as the tapping function.
And of course, as one would expect, on the app I see you can access the map, so you can pull that up so you know where everyone is.
Yeah.
So yeah, Very easy and convenient. Anything you would like to leave our viewers with before we wrap things up, Jessica?
Oh, man, I mean, that's one of our biggest things is we've been developing this app. When we were unable to do Taste of Charlotte in 2020, it was something we really sort of put our heads together to produce and do. But there's a know before you go tab on Taste of Charlotte. It's got all the parking, coin, app, visitor info, tasteofcharlotte.com, and just a lot of the kids' activities. Maybe I forgot to talk about was the fact that there's a whole section with Levine Avenue that has 15 different rides. You get a wristband to play all day for kids, so bring the family. You can get them occupied while you're tasting some food. And then we've lined like at least one activity per block so you can kind of move down the line and keep your kids entertained throughout the event, as well as the adults being entertained as well. And we've got a lot of tours this year, which is like fantastic. We're so excited about the interactive, we've got Instax Fujifilm. I think they're going to do like those Polaroids are back in style and that type of thing. Go RVing is there and has interactive camper stuff for everybody kind of getting on the road this summer for camping. Again, the stages that are there. And the Truist neighborhood. So, one of those things is like we've got 2 area blocks where Truist has taken over, and they're purple on the map, so you can find them. And it includes the marketplace, which has our local area artisans, so you want to support them. People like David French, who, paints those wonderful Charlotte historical buildings and that type of thing, along with, your soaps and candles and jewelry and all of that. And then we've got the wine cellar in the Truist neighborhood. And then, of course, the last but not least is the Food Lion front porch. Like, they've got this amazing trailer that folds out into a front porch. You can actually sit on a porch and have lemonade and have rocking chairs and just play games and just a lot of those like experiences that you can really get immersed into at Taste of Charlotte, where you're at least eating and drinking and having all this fun, but you get to like experience a lot of different things on site. So. We've built it all year, and we hope the city of Charlotte and the community enjoys it.
I mean, it sounds like a really great event. We'll remind folks once again, this is June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So really coming up in less than 3 days at this point. Yeah. I'm looking, by the way, at your timer, your countdown clock on your website. So that's how I know. 2 days, 15 hours, 40 minutes until Taste of Charlotte. You can find more on tasteofcharlotte.com. Jessica Robards, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Impact News. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much.
All right. There you have it, folks. Okay. You can learn more, of course, at tasteofcharlotte.com. We'll remind you once again. With that.
Happy Friday, everyone. Colin Mayfield here inside the Impact studio on WCNC Plus. Jeb Goldman is here as well for the next less than an hour, 55 minutes or so. But we'll obviously be with you until 4 o'clock and toss things over to Jane Montreal and Nick Sturdivant at that time. It's a big weekend. I'm kind of excited. We were supposed to have tickets to the Savannah Bananas game. Banana Ball is in town. And if you've been living under a rock, folks, let me just tell you, this team has been taking over America. I mean, they were just in Clemson, Jeb, right? Like maybe a month ago or less.
Yeah, did you see that crowd?
Sold it out, dude.
It was like 70,000
Death Valley.
people.
I know, man. I want them to go to the other Death Valley down in Louisiana and sell that out. I'm sure they will at some point.
I think they could sell at any stadium in America.
They sold out Bank of America.
Yeah, 2 days, 2 nights in a row.
They had to ask them for a second night.
Yep. And not everybody got tickets. Some people still didn't get tickets.
Funny connection here. By the way, if you're watching WCNC Plus, you would never find this information out unless you're watching here. I have a unique connection, and I'll just say this. I won't say too much, but our nanny actually nannies for their family, and it is so cool because we hear so many inside baseball.
Owners.
Yes, the owners, the actual owners. We actually hear so many things about inside baseball, like literally, right, about what they're doing, how they're doing it. Great people, always busy, but it's so good to hear the stories, and it sounds like they're just going full steam into this success. I know for a while it was kind of a rough thing for them as they started their business. But they have their home stadium in Grayson Stadium. That's in Savannah, right? That's where they typically play. But lately, they've been on this 2025 Banana Ball World Tour. That's included stops at Yankee Stadium, which they've sold out, Fenway Park, which they've sold out, Minute Maid Park, which they sold out. I mean, all of these stadiums that you see, they've sold out. Memorial Stadium, which is really Clemson, right? We call it Death Valley. Nissan Stadium, which is in Nashville, that was about a month or two ago as well. So it's just crazy to see that they've taken over, and really it brings such a family-friendly atmosphere that's really cool to see as well. And they're building the game. I think a lot of folks are getting involved and really wanting to know more, not just about baseball and banana ball, but really about, professional MLB ball as well. So, Jeb, anything you want to talk about before we hit to these interviews? Because I know it's going to be fun to watch some of these young men and women participate in this banana ball scurry this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes at such an interesting time in the world of baseball. You think about what they've done with the pitch clock, trying to make games shorter so that people watch more. I think a lot of people are concerned because it's so difficult to watch baseball now. Like, to watch every game, you have to have so many streaming services. The Savannah Bananas, to the best of my knowledge, actually air all of their games for free.
Wow. That's cool.
You can find them on their YouTube. You can find them on ESPN Plus. That's
cool.
And people watch. I mean, and it's an entertaining thing. So I think in this world of streaming, and every sport, it feels like, is behind such an expensive paywall.
Right.
To have such an interesting product free and accessible.
It's unique.
And the owner, it seems like, and
Jesse's
like
cool.
a really, really neat guy.
Yeah, he's a really cool
who
dude.
Genuinely cares, but I really don't believe he's trying to make money, or I think he make money, but trying to profit out. I think he wants to provide an experience to the fan. They invest a lot of money.
He talks
back
about
into that product.
Yeah,
Right.
he talks about that. They invested a lot into the product in the early years and really didn't get a lot of return on investment. And I think that's really the crux of this. And he talks about not quitting, right? And then I love how he also coaches people. We talk about training, but he talks about coaching folks, right? Coaching people up, because he says quite vividly, you train dogs, right? You train animals. Humans, you don't train them in some sense. You coach them. You coach them through stuff. You coach them to be better or to level up, as we say here at WCNC and in Tegna. So it is cool. And like I said, the entire family is so focused on being just a complete joy. And they bring so much joy to the community as well.
Yeah, well, and here's some connections that I think some folks watching might not know about. So Eric Jones, let me make sure I'm getting his, Jesse Cole, excuse me. Jesse Cole actually used to own the Gastonia Grizzlies, so their owner, which is fascinating. And then two players tonight, Eric Jones Jr. and Reese Hampton, are both from Charlotte. So they were talking about how they grew up watching Panthers games and being Carolina sports fans, and now being able to hit in front of their home crowd at the Panther Stadium. That is such a neat experience.
That's cool. So we've got their interviews. Nick Carboni fielded with them. We'll play them for you now.
I'm here with our resident Savannah Banana, Eric Jones Jr., pride of South Meck High School and Davidson College. Eric, you're rocking the 59 Keekly jersey. You're about to play in front of 150,000 people over 2 nights in your hometown NFL stadium. Come on, man. That's crazy. What does that feel like?
It's hard to believe. From the moment it was first announced, I had to immediately call my family. They couldn't believe it either. I'm going to have so many friends and family and people from all different walks of my life here this weekend. It's the type of event that I think the Charlotte community is never going to forget and be craving for more. I hope this becomes a home for Banana Ball. Long term, I think it's going to be the best event we've ever had here. I can't wait.
I see you looking up into the stands. I know you've been in these stands. We've got pictures of you in Panthers gear. How does it hit you to be here right now and know that you're playing baseball, the game you love, in this stadium?
It's unbelievable. I've loved the Panthers my whole life. I've loved baseball my whole life. I never envisioned playing baseball here in Panther Stadium. But here we are. We're going to sell this place out 2 nights in a row. It's going to be rocking. I just think about being a kid. And for me, it was always about trying to make the next team and, trying to keep the baseball dream alive, keep progressing. And thankfully, I found a spot here with Bananas where I get to be myself, I get to express myself, I get to be challenged in other aspects of life, I get to be creative, and we get to bring this show, this performance to so many people that I love.
I don't know if you call them tricks. They're like skills because you're doing them in live action. What's your favorite skill or trick that you've gotten to do on the field?
We call them tricks. We have trick plays. So when I'm at first base, I'll catch the ball in between my legs. I'll catch it over my head. I'll catch it behind my back. When we field the ball, we'll dribble it behind our back, like basketball style. I would say my favorite one is probably catching it between the legs. Like, I'll be looking straight on at the guy, and it's almost like, oh, is he going to react? But boom, you just catch it right between your legs. Gets a big reaction from the crowd.
What about behind the plate? What can you do there?
Yeah, behind the plate, you can get funky with it too. So similarly, you can put it between your legs, behind your back, dribble the ball off the plate, dribble it off the plate and spin, throw it up over your head, do cartwheels, do whatever. It's really, you're only limited by your creativity. And that's one of the fun things about doing this is there's always a new trick. There's always a new way to celebrate. There's always something new. So it keeps you on your toes every day.
There was a moment, it sounds like, when you were bullpen catching for the Mariners where you had to make a decision. Do you want to keep doing that, or do you want to get back on the field? Yeah. I guess you made the right call.
I like to think so. It's definitely been a lot of blessings being a part of the Bananas, still getting to play. That's the thing I always loved. And even when I was bullpen catching, it just felt a little disappointing that I wasn't playing anymore. Even though I loved everything about the job was amazing and it couldn't have been any better. I felt unfulfilled not playing. So to be back here, to still be playing baseball, to be doing it in front of my hometown, my friends and family, where everybody's really excited about it, that's what's so special.
I don't think any of us saw the Savannah Bananas coming. I don't think you saw this dream coming, but here you are. What's the lesson in that?
The lesson is to be open-minded, and that's even for anybody. Like, they ask me how to be a Banana, or like, how do you do the things you do, and it's like, just show up every day and be open-minded and be open to what's coming next. You know, you don't know what's coming next. Keep working hard, you know, just believe that good things are going to happen to you and keep yourself open to whatever opportunity shows up.
All right, we're here in an NFL stadium. Do you hit right or left?
Righty.
Okay, so how, are you going to go oppo? Because that's a short porch over there.
Yeah, so when I played in Nashville, the Titan Stadium, they had a very similar setup, and I hit one just to the left of the net, pretty much dead center. And I think that's the way to do it again, because center field will probably be around 300, which is shorter than normal baseball field. Left field is real deep over there. And right field is short, but there's a very tall net. So to oppo to go that way, it's still kind of a blast to get it up that high. Center field is definitely the play. That's going to be the strategy.
All right, and last question. I mean, you saw Luke Kuechly, Greg Olson, these guys do their thing on this field. There's a chance some of them might be watching you this weekend. How does that hit you?
It's pretty amazing. You know, I grew up watching the Panthers my whole life. So many legends. I'm rocking a Luke Kuechly jersey. Right now, we just met Jonathan Stewart walking through the locker room or whatever. It's unreal. Just to have the support of the Panthers organization is truly special, that they want Banana Ball to be here. I hope we get to meet any and all of the guys. We've gotten to meet so many cool people throughout this Banana jersey journey, make friends, and yeah, I hope they all come and have a good time and enjoy what they see.
This is a dream hatched really 45 minutes from here. What is it like to be here in front of 2 sold-out nights at Bank of America Stadium?
Well, I go back to a 23-year-old with his first job as a general manager of a small team in Gastonia, North Carolina, and there was $268 in the bank account my first day, and there was only 200 fans coming to the game. The team had lost over $100,000 the previous year. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and you know, I hoped in just Gastonia to be able to get a few fans to come out to the ballpark. You know, maybe get 1,000 one night, and for 10 years. You know, he worked there to try to attract fans, and now to be here to play 2 sold-out nights, 74,000 each night. Yeah, it's not anything you could ever imagine, but it's a dream, and it feels special because of all the people that I've been around in the community over the last 15, 20 years.
How many football stadiums is this?
So we started at Tampa, then we did Clemson, then we did Nashville. So this is our 4th football stadium.
Is this the first one you've done 2 nights?
Yes, it is.
When you saw that you had the availability and the demand to do 2 nights, what did that mean to you?
Well, I think it was shocking, you know, first a couple of years ago when our wait list first went over 1 million, and then this past year go over 2 million, and this year to see a wait list for tickets over 3 million, and in Charlotte well over 100,000 plus people on a list to get tickets. It shows the demand, but also, you know, when I look at this facility and this market and this opportunity to put on a great event and working with Charlotte, the tourism, and the Panthers, this seemed like a no-brainer for us. And if we're going to do 2, let's do it here. And the excitement has been an all-time high.
All right, just thinking of those other stadiums, this is the first one on turf?
Nope. No, we had Nashville was on turf.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. What is it like to just? Did you ever come here to a Panthers game or like a concert or like?
Yes. I went to numerous Panthers games back in the day, and then earlier this year they had me bang the drum to start a game. So I've seen it, I've felt it, and I think that's one of the great things about football stadiums: the electricity and the energy. And now to combine that with Banana Ball and put it together, it's going to be very loud tomorrow. And it's going to be crazy, and the energy from the fans. And what people don't realize, it starts really early. You know, from 2 o'clock on, you're going to feel it in the stadium and feel it outside the stadium. So this will be a night that many of us won't forget.
And doing stadiums, like, it's a bigger stage. It's like, do you have to bring bigger energy, more? Like, how do you fit what you need to a big stadium?
Every stadium we go to, especially football stadiums, we think big. And so what I mean by that is all the promotions, all the entrances, all of the skits, everything we do, we think to a bigger scale. In addition to that, we also program the entire upper deck. So you'll see me, I'll be in the upper deck. You'll see our cast will be in the upper deck. You'll see our players will be in the upper deck. We want to make sure every single one of these fans, 74,000, whether you're sitting right behind home plate or whether you're sitting center field up in the top, you're going to get an intimate, amazing show. And so we have to work hard. I'll get 40, 50,000 steps, and so will a lot of our cast, but it's worth it, and that's what it means to be fans first, and that's why we do everything.
I'll finish up and circle back around with whatever is $250 in the bank account and trying to get things going in Gastonia to selling out 2 nights at the football stadium 45 minutes away. What's the lesson in that for anybody?
When I was a kid, my dad told me when I came up to bat the first time, he said, Jess, swing hard in case you hit it. And since I was a kid, since when I started in Gastonia, we've been taking big swings, and that's everyone in our organization. And sometimes we swing and miss, but the reality is we keep coming up to bat. No matter what, when things don't go right, when we fail, we come back to bat, and we're going to keep doing that. And so I think anybody, not be afraid of failure, to dream big, and to keep coming up to bat and swing hard in case you hit it.
Real last question. How many of these suits do you have?
Too many at this point. I've got nine yellow tuxes and about 70 of these hats.
Awesome.
Going to be a phenomenal time. I'm sure both nights are going to be fantastic for a lot of people that are going to be in attendance there. We have the Karen retrial that is still ongoing, and actually we expect this to close out sometime next week. At least that's what the initial thoughts are. But testimony resumed today after a day off for the jury. The defense continues presenting its case as well, which is happening right now, as you can see on the screen. So we'll go into this as this is ongoing. It seems to be dealing with an SUV. I think I'm getting some information from WCVB here. So it is in connection to the death of John O'Keefe. That was her boyfriend, Karen Reed's boyfriend. He was a Boston police officer. So this is the potential SUV or something like what Reed would have driven when she killed or hit, allegedly, John O'Keefe. So we'll go to this now and learn a little bit more from the entire event.
Act causing that amount of damage to the taillight that's reflected in this video, but suffer no lower body injuries. Isn't that fair to say?
I don't address injuries, sir.
Well, let's play it forward. Do we ever see Randy's knees hit the car? Hips? Ribs?
I see the foot getting run over, but I don't think there was contact with the legs, no.
Would you agree that a pedestrian could be in this type of collision and suffer no lower body injuries based on your presentation here?
Sir, I don't address injuries. Biomechanics is not my area of specialty.
You said it's common in vehicle pedestrian collisions that there's some type of bumper displacement. Have you
Correct.
said that?
Yes.
Okay, bring it back to the beginning, please. Stop. Any bumper displacement in this collision?
In this specific test, no.
You said that on direct you would expect that there would be some panel deformation. What does that mean?
So if for instance, let's say the hand is not contacting the taillight or a portion of it is contacting the lift gate, you could see deformation to that body paneling.
You said that you would expect to see, not that you could. What you said on direct is you would expect to see panel deformation.
Yes.
And you said in this case there was none, right? Talking about the defendant's Lexus. You said, I would expect to see panel deformation, and in this case, the defendant's Lexus, there was none. That's what you told us on direct.
Correct.
let's watch E. Let's watch your video. Play it ahead. Is there any panel deformation? Stop. In this?
No, sir.
Okay. So when you said on direct examination, relative to the defendant's Lexus, you would expect panel deformation, there was none. There are examples, one that you gave us yourself, where there is a collision causing this amount of damage to a taillight where there's no panel deformation.
I'm going to allow it.
Right?
If I recall, I think you're referring to my prior testimony in another proceeding where I had not conducted this testing yet. So ultimately, that's part of the reason why this testing was conducted, to evaluate that.
In this case, the damage to the right rear taillight, there's no panel deformation there, is there?
Correct, there is not.
When somebody is wearing a hat and they're involved in a collision similar to this, can their hat fall off?
Potentially.
Did you look at photos? Is there a photo of the hat, Ms. Gilman? Before you came to your opinions and conclusions, did you look at this photo and see a hat on the grass?
I did review this, yes.
And did you give any consideration when you did your tests to whether the hat would come off Randy or any crash test dummy when you hit it at that speed?
No, that wasn't a part of my evaluation.
Could I have photo 77, please? What's that, sir?
So I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the photograph, but there was some material transfer from the jeans that the Rescue Randy was wearing.
And so as a result of that impact, there was scuffing from Randy's jeans onto this exemplar Lexus.
There was scuffing, yes.
Did you look at the defendant's photos of the defendant's Lexus to see if there was a...
Sorry.
It's okay. To see if there was any scuffing in a very similar area?
I don't recall it being at that portion of the vehicle close to the rear wheel.
Where did you see the scuffing on the defendant's Lexus?
I think there was some scrapes along the wraparound section of the bumper cover.
The bottom part?
Correct.
It's not claimed that's attributed to the collision, so I don't want you to consider that. But did you see other scuffs a little higher up on the Lexus?
I did, but I don't know that those could certainly just be normal wear and tear to the vehicle.
Was that normal wear and tear?
This, no, because we observed it in the test.
Could I have photo 153, please?
Okay.
Now, this is a photo without the hatchback up. This is just the lighting fixture, right?
Correct.
And could you close up in on that? And you would agree if you went 7 miles per hour faster, it would cause more damage to that, wouldn't it?
Yes.
When the taillight is shattered and it spreads through the air, does it have the potential to impale a person, for example, on their nose?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
In your test, you saw that upon collision, there was a scattering of taillight that broke from the fixture, correct?
Correct.
Would those shards, as they float or fly through the air, would they have the ability to impale a person on their face or even their nose?
I think that would be unlikely.
And finally, we've discussed, you now would agree with me that weight does matter, doesn't it?
It can if it's significant, yes.
I have no further questions.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Can we, Dr. Wolf, go back to your power? Do you have your PowerPoint
Yes.
set up?
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
You have that ready?
Yes.
Can you go forward, and I don't have them memorized, so bear with me. Can you go forward to test E? And I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
Okay, if you could scroll through, keep going. If you'd please to the next slide, the next. Can you, is this a video or is this a still photograph?
It is a video.
Is this at full speed or is this slow?
This is full speed.
Okay, can you go to the next slide? Okay, go back one. This is a test at what speed?
This is the Lexus moving in reverse, contacting at 24 miles an hour.
All right. Let's go ahead and play this at full speed if we could. Dr. Wolf, can you, that's awfully fast. Can you get to a point where you're moving frame by frame just at the point of contact?
Am I able to display my screen without doing the... I'm trying to see how I can get this to work.
If you could just move forward frame by frame rather than...
I don't know that I can in the... Oh, I missed it.
Okay. It may be more difficult than we thought. Let me ask you a couple of questions based on that. Did you review that video in slow motion as well as at full speed?
Yes, from a frame-by-frame perspective.
And in terms of a couple of different questions about that particular test, when there's impact with that right arm, what's the speed that the arm gets to upon impact?
In test E?
Right. If the car's going 24 miles an hour, what's the expected speed of the arm?
So the hand got up to a little over 24. The arm got a little over 21 miles per hour.
The debris that comes off of the taillight, the fragments, what speed would they be going at the point of impact when they crack and are released from the taillight?
At the impact speed or less.
In order to penetrate the sweatshirt and cut the arm across, would the shards have to be going faster or slower than the arm?
They would have to be going faster. If they're moving at a common velocity with the arm relative to it, they would somehow have to accelerate with more speed to catch up and go beyond the arm, essentially.
Is that physically possible?
No.
I also want to ask you about do you have in your PowerPoint the photographs of the sweatshirt at the full, what you call the full-on impact, test F as in Foxtrot?
I don't have any of those in the PowerPoint.
Okay. The photo that you showed, if I could ask Ms. Gilman to show the same photograph that she showed earlier of the subsequent to test F as in Foxtrot with the holes in the sleeve.
If she can.
If she can.
Can you do that, Ms. Gilman?
Very kind.
Thank you.
Dr. Wolf, you're shown just the left arm underneath the, whatever you call the dummy, Randy, right?
Yes.
Did Mr. Brennan show you the rest of the sweatshirt?
No.
What did the rest of the sweatshirt look like after this full-on impact when he was launched on the asphalt?
Mangled. So there was not only significant road rash to the clothing all over the torso section, the left arm, the right arm. There was holes in many different locations of various sizes. There was also just on the skin of the dummy, there was road rash on the face had been scraped. The torso had been scraped. So there was significant body damage to the torso as well.
Taking just the sweatshirt, separating that out, what about the bodice of the sweatshirt, the front of the sweatshirt? Were there holes and frays and damage to the front?
It was covered in all of those, yes.
What about the back of the sweatshirt? Did that also have damage?
I don't believe the back, because I think he fell onto his stomach.
What about the other arm?
Yes, both arms did.
Were the holes and frays larger than the holes, the puncture holes that you saw on John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
They were certainly larger and, again, spread out amongst the entirety of the sweatshirt, at least on the front side.
Was the damage to the sweatshirt that you saw in this experiment consistent with the damage or defects that you saw in just the right arm, those 9 puncture holes on the right arm of the sweatshirt of John O'Keefe?
No, this is distinctly road rash. There's a clear distinction between the two.
Showing, looking at this particular set of defects in the arm, is that misleading in terms of its comparison to John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
Objection. Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask to approach very briefly on an issue we discussed earlier.
All right. It seems like they've got something going on in the court as they're going to discuss amongst themselves. So we'll cut out of this and go back to it in case we need to, if there's anything that happens in court. Obviously, CMS, there's been a lot of tumultuous things going on. They've had a tumultuous couple of months. There's been a couple of incidents that a lot of parents aren't happy with, namely 2 different principals at 2 different schools. One was suspended, then retired. The other one had a similar type of situation. But the Ardrey Kell High School situation has really been in the spotlight because we've reported on a fight that was there. There was an FBI investigation as well. And then numerous things have happened at that school. And then we get towards the end of the year, and the principal is just kind of gone. And parents are kind of like, why? Well, there was a public comment section last night during council when individuals spoke about the situation. So we want to go to this right now.
On May 12th, my wife was taking my kids to school when they saw a fleet of ICE vehicles arresting a father on his way to morning drop-off. When my 10-year-old son asked to attend a protest, he made a sign that said, "My friends shouldn't live in fear." There's been a lot of fear, hurt, and anger also at Ardrey Kell the last couple of weeks. There's been several principals from across this district who have been removed in stealth with no explanation. I wonder if the pattern and method of these suspensions have been about the consolidation of power instead of the guards and guardrails that you have envisioned. I teach comparative politics, so I'll tell you that the core tactic of authoritarian regimes is the arbitrary exercise of power to create a culture of fear. I want to be clear, I'm not equating the pain of deportation ripping families apart to the ignominious end of a celebrated educator's career. What I am saying is that I worry that the goal in both these cases is to make people afraid of transgressing a life-altering invisible line. Is that not the message being sent to the staff of CMS? You can have a full career, be beloved of staff and students, and lead one of the state's top performing schools by every metric, and all of it gone with only media rumors remaining. Do you want to cow the other principals of CMS at the expense of drying up potential administrative recruits given this fearful climate? I also have 2 requests to demonstrate your support of immigrant communities. First, that you allow community-based organizations to provide Know Your Rights information and training directly to families. Second, to provide in-person trauma-informed training for teachers around family separation and immigration. Thank you.
Barbie Gearhart. It's lovely.
My name is Kelly Ledwick, and I'm a frustrated parent from Marjorie Kell. I stand before you tonight because I want to express my deep dissatisfaction about the recent communication of Ms. Brooks' retirement and the leadership of our superintendent. While I respect the superintendent's position, I have deep concerns about how she has treated Ms. Brooks and the AK teachers, admin, and staff who work tirelessly to serve our students. Leadership should inspire, support, and empower, not intimidate, dismiss, or belittle. AK administrators and teachers describe an environment of fear with district leaders rather than collaboration. We're speaking of risk, whilst we're speaking up, risks retaliation rather than resolution. AK teachers and staff are exhausted, demoralized, and frankly afraid. And when the people who teach our children and run our schools are treated with disrespect, dishonesty, and lack of transparency, our students pay the price. A school district thrives when its leaders foster trust, respect, and open communication. Instead, morales are deteriorating, talented educators are leaving or are forced to leave, not because of the students or the community, but because they are undervalued and undersupported by central administration. These turnovers harm our schools, our communities, but mostly our students. I urge the board to take a deeper look in the details of Ms. Brooks' retirement, along with the ongoing lack of transparency and horrific communication. Investigate the climate under the superintendent's leadership. Ask yourselves, is this a culture we want for our district? Are we prioritizing power over partnership? Our students deserve leaders who model respect, empathy, and integrity. They had one with Ms. Brooks. Our principals deserve leadership that uplifts the professionals dedicating their lives to education, not those who undermine them. We deserve better, our students deserve better. It's time to stop enabling leaders who rule by fear.
Hey y'all, my name is Barbie Gearhart and I have 7 children and I have had 5 in CMS. I have 1 grandchild in CMS. I'm a registered voter, as are 5 of my children, and my husband's a registered voter also. I met Jamie Brooks when she was the principal at Community House Middle School with her famous Welcome to Middle School orientation. And she was awesome even back then. And when she became principal of the high school and my children were in the high school, I was overjoyed. And there is nothing that makes me feel more safe, especially in a climate where, like the young girl was talking about school shootings, where I know that my children are in good hands when Jamie's there. I know that. I feel better about that. I would email her every year and tell her that. That's a special thing. That's an important thing. That's a safe thing. That's a special thing. And that doesn't come with everybody. We were asked the other day what kind of characteristics we want in a principal. We have it. Y'all have her curriculum vitae. Y'all have had it for 30 years. You know exactly what we want. We have it. Y'all let it walk right out the door. You gave her, you suspended her. You won't even tell us why. Now, if you had a reason to suspend her and found a reason to hold her accountable for an action, that's your business. But you
held a reason to hold her accountable and still pay her. So it wasn't so egregious that you fired her and you took her pay away, but it was egregious enough she couldn't be there. So if you're going to pay her to stay home, then you should tell us what it was about. But if you're going to fire her or force her into retirement and then turn around and ask me, what is it I want in a principal? I want Jamie. That's what I want. That's what I've wanted.
Heather McAfee.
Should I begin?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Carla Stovall, and I'm an Audrey Kell parent and president of the PTSO. My concerns about timing are as follows. Number one, why was the building update sent on the 23rd of May? That's almost 3 weeks from the date that Mrs. Brooks was reported as suspended. May 3rd, 4th, or 5th would have been fine. May 23rd, not so much. So that was confusing. Timing. Why did the administrators, staff, and parents not get the courtesy of hearing about the suspension prior to it being shared with the news media? That was hurtful and disrespectful. Timing. Why was this done at the end of the school year during exams and all the other activities that happen at the end of a typical school year? Senior celebrations and tournaments and so many other things. Our principal was not there, and that is how we knew, because she was always there. Timing. If there was to be a retirement, why wasn't she given the opportunity to do so at the end of the school year versus when it took place? That felt targeted and unfair. Timing. If a principal is so heinous that she needed to be removed immediately, then that implies she must be a danger to our students. If my child was in harm's way under Jamie Brooks, I needed to know that immediately. It felt like you did not care about my child. Altogether, your timing was inexcusable. Jamie Brooks is one of the most transparent principals ever. Our school board could take a lesson from her. The CMS school district would be better off if it was run like Jamie Brooks ran AK. In the very least, we deserve an apology. At the best, the board needs to review and change its policies regarding communication. And for other families that are out there, watch out, your school could be next. Isn't that right, Randolph Middle? We are AK Nation, and we are AK Strong. Thank you.
Karen Morris.
You can proceed.
Good evening. My name is Heather McAfee. I'm a proud Audrey Kell parent of 3 children, a community advocate, and a founder of a nonprofit that's provided over $500,000 in food support to families in 11 CMS schools in the past 5 years. But tonight, I'm here as someone who has worked closely with Jamie Brooks for the last 8 years on school improvement teams at Community House and Audrey Kell. And I am heartbroken, not just by what happened, but how it was handled. Jamie Brooks is not just a principal, she's the heartbeat of our school. She shows up early, stays late, at every game, every meeting, every hard conversation. She leads with strength, integrity, and deep compassion. She works harder than anyone I know because she believes every child and every educator she serves. And now, after 30 years of dedicated service to CMS, she is being pushed out quietly, without transparency, and during one of the most critical weeks of the school year. It's not just unprofessional, it's harmful. It erodes trust and breaks the spirit of the school community that she poured her soul in. Our students deserve stability. Our staff deserves clarity, not fear. And our community deserves answers. So what now? Jamie should be offered the opportunity to be reinstated. Her record and leadership speak for themselves. If there is no other option, then honor her publicly, like the principal of South Charlotte, and acknowledge that Audrey Kell's accomplishments that Dr. Hill highlighted in the parent school message on Tuesday, that all made possible under Jamie's leadership. Finally, I urge this board to review how this case has been handled compared to other situations in the district and share those findings with the community. We cannot learn or rebuild with silence. Jamie Brooks deserves better,
and so does the AK community. Susan Hicks. You can proceed.
Good evening. My name is Corinne Morris, and I am here as the parent of a senior who will be graduating at Audrey Kell High School. I have known Jamie Brooks as principal for my daughter in Community House Middle School as well as Audrey Kell, and I have grown to respect her as a truth teller, someone who is transparent, who doesn't feel the need to sugarcoat any realities that need to be faced, which was really important to me in middle school years, navigating social media and all of the impacts of that. And my lasting memory of Jamie is really a parents' meeting that she coordinated after hours when she didn't need to be doing this, but as an opportunity for multiple cultures to sit down together and discuss differences. She used the book, The Hate You Give, as a springboard for those discussions. I came away deeply impacted with my eyes open to a lot of realities that I didn't know existed. And that is the type of leadership that we truly need in this day and age. We need understanding, and we need cooperation, and we need discussion. And I hope that this leadership and many other leaders across our country can take a leaf out of the page of Miss Brooks. And I would dearly love to have Miss Brooks be at my daughter's graduation. And so that is a humble request to this board. Thank you.
Jennifer Keller.
Good evening, my name is Susan Hicks, and I'm a deeply involved AK parent speaking today out of concern regarding the lack of transparency and communication from the CMS leadership, Superintendent Hill, and the school board. As a parent with children who have been with Mrs. Brooks as a principal, first at Community House, and now at Audrey Kell for the past 8 years, I have witnessed firsthand the kind of leader she is, one who constantly puts students in the community first. I'm going to share some facts about AK's success. Audrey Kell is ranked 505 nationally out of more than 25,000 public high schools. We're ranked 13th in North Carolina, 3rd among public schools in Charlotte, and the 2nd out of 35 CMS schools. 78% of our AK students are enrolled in AP classes. And here's something incredibly important. 55% of our student body are minorities. That's real diversity, and these are real achievements because of her. I know families who've moved out of state specifically to be part of this exceptional and inclusive campus. We love AK and we love Mrs. Brooks because she shows up, she leads with integrity, she believes in our kids and follows the rules. So you understand our outrage when without warning or transparency, she was suspended despite following district policies. Families and staff were left in the dark for weeks. Her suspension occurred in early May, but we didn't hear anything till three weeks later. Superintendent Hill had already promised improved communications in a video sent out in February. Clearly that promise has not been fulfilled. I have a daughter who just won the prestigious North Carolina Teaching Fellowship, but now she questions whether she would ever want to teach in CMS. And can you blame her or numerous other talented educators who will undoubtedly pass on coming to CMS? You do not stand by your educators, you do not communicate with them, you do not show them respect they deserve. You're asking for the qualities we want in a new leader, but nothing needs to change from what we have with Mrs. Brooks. You're the group that needs to recognize that. Yes. Shame on you, do better. Education is the most important gift we can give our children, and when we have a strong, loyal, and effective leader, you push her out.
Phil Gramaglia. Let's go.
My name is Jennifer Keller. I'm an AK parent, and I strongly believe in the value of public education. Our children deserve to learn in an environment that values integrity. Our teachers deserve to work in a school system where they are not just told they are respected and valued, but are shown. Our teachers shouldn't be afraid to speak out for fear they'll lose their jobs or not be able to pay their bills. Please don't ask us to trust you that there was a personnel reason that a beloved principal with 30 years of service simply retires without saying goodbye to her staff, students, and parents. You want us to trust you when you tell us that you value our input on a new principal when you expect to announce that new principal in less than a month. I'm here to tell you we do not trust you. Mrs. Brooks was apparently suspended on May 2nd, and the only reason any of us knew about that was because we started asking where she was. On May 23rd, we got a vague notice saying she would be quote-unquote away for a period. You knew she had been suspended for 3 weeks by then, and you lied. Why? CMS apparently suspended another principal at Randolph Middle School on May 20th, just 2 weeks after she was assaulted by a parent on school property. The notice went out to parents on May 28th, simply said, the principal is away from campus at this time. You knew she'd been suspended for over a week, and yet you lied. Why? I'm here tonight to demand that CMS stop lying to us and to demand that the school board look behind the wool over your eyes and launch investigations surrounding the sudden and seemingly inexplicable suspension of at least 4 principals in May. This is not leadership, and our students and teachers deserve better.
Is the message getting through? You know, clearly CMS does not understand how to empower true leaders in their schools and in the district, and this is just another example of them not empowering a true leader in Jamie Brooks. My name is Phil Grimley. I'm an AK parent of 3 kids. I'm here to bring attention to the ongoing lack of communication, poor leadership, and broken trust within CMS under Dr. Hill's leadership. On February 24th, Dr. Hill issued a public apology saying, "I apologize that parents weren't notified per our process. We commit to doing better." Fast forward a few months, promise broken. Principal Brooks' last day, as we all know, May 1st, 3 weeks, nothing communicated until a retirement comes in with no explanation. And still, as many of the parents have said very clearly, there is no trust amongst the AK parents with CMS leadership. This silence continues to create stress, anxiety, and unnecessary rumors through our community. You see it all over the news. Again, AK in the news. All our kids want to do is have a strong leader and go to school every day, learn, graduate, go to college, and be productive citizens. The damage didn't stop there. Principal Brooks has been actively advocating for proper teacher allotments for the upcoming school year, resources that directly affect student safety and achievement. Her sudden removal stalled that work, and now AK is once again facing reduced staffing. Also, her current administrative team is trying to do the best, but they have not been, properly briefed, and now many teachers are left in limbo because they were there because of Jamie Brooks, and now they can't transfer because the portal has already closed. Please do better. Bring Brooks back.
Tyler Erb, Seal Gonzo. One second. Seal Gonzo.
Unfortunately, this is the second time I've had to speak at a board meeting this year. This is the second time I've come down and tried to talk about something that was deeply concerning to me about teachers or opportunities being taken away, but we were listened and not heard. The level of disrespect that my fellow staff members felt when we were introduced to Dr. Bostic for the first time, someone who's never been in our school, and told that she needed some respect, when we were kept in the dark for over 3 weeks that our principal was put on paid leave. we had to find out through the news. I had to get shared a news article on a phone from a student, and that's the only way I found out, when CMS Communications could have done a better job. They could have been more transparent. They could have been more respectful of our time. Yeah. But this was a ploy by the district to make sure that none of my fellow staff, who many came to work at Audrey Kell to work with Jamie Brooks, didn't have the opportunity to transfer. The transfer period had closed, and unless you were getting some type of promotion, none of us even had the availability to leave if we had wanted to. That shows a lack of disrespect from the board and from the district. This culture of fear that this district has tried to kind of instill into their teachers to not speak up, to have communication behind closed doors without anything on written record so it can be denied later, so that way we can do better later, it's infuriating and it's highly inappropriate. Again, I've worked for this district for 12 years, 10 underneath Jamie Brooks, and this is the most angry and most distrustful I have ever been of this district. Yes. This is inappropriate, and you all need to do better. Yes.
Hey, there is one question I am willing to bet no one on this board had to ask themselves every morning. Who will take care of my kids if I don't come home tonight? Immigrant parents ask that question every single morning. Who will take care of my kids if I'm not home tonight? Right now, the families of over 32,000 newcomers and 1 in 3 students in the district have at least one immigrant parent who could potentially benefit from the event I'm hoping you will get in your hands pretty soon. The event is a preparedness plan coordinated by Outbridge along with the Hispanic Federation, and one of many that trusted